Oh, hello. We are rolling here on the 2nd of July, which is, I believe, a Wednesday. When these, throws your whole week, right? So
Sure does.
holiday. Is it a
midweek?
Tuesday or a Thursday or a Wednesday? It's a real challenge, but we're up for it.
Rabbit.
Shit. This show, a presentation of Bet365. Whatever your bet is, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app. Get into the game. Official partner of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Must be 19 or older. And hey, you know what? Seeing as they're all here, we may as well do a super chat if so being. You put a comment into the YouTube chat with some money. We'll take the money, give it to the Youth Centers of Calgary, and then put your comment on the show. Mm-hmm. I can only imagine people be just frothing to get some opinions out after a long weekend.
Yes.
I mean, you start overhauling the team like Craig Conroy's done over the last 3 days. It's the buzz of the town.
That's right.
The hockey world.
Really?
Yeah.
That's why shows like ours exist, to keep people up to date.
So much happens. I might have been away. I was on a boat. I was flying. I was traveling. It was a long weekend. Like, get me up to speed, fellas. What happened?
Yeah. I like to think, I've been doing this a long time. Been a hockey fan my whole life. Kind of know who a lot of the players are in the league.
Okay.
There were definitely more people were signed to NHL contracts yesterday that I didn't know who they were than guys that I did. It's like Nick Cicek has signed it.
Yeah, he's not a
Nick. Okay. Who the fuck? I was just looking at Jack, your team, the old the Penguinos. They'd made some signings today. It's like, well, I've heard of two of these guys. Anthony Mantha.
Heard of him.
There you go. Yeah.
He is signed.
What a pickup.
Phil Kemp.
Phil Kessel?
Nah.
Sean Kemp.
Nope.
A lot of kids.
A lot of
great
kids.
hops. Got
Raphael Harvey Pinard.
RHP. Former Hab.
It was the worst as far as entertainment value. The worst July 1 ever.
Worst. There were 10 players that got over $3.5 million a year. That's it. And there's some bad ones that had no business being over $3.5 a year.
Yeah. And weren't they saying, I think Duthie had said they were into the billions of
1.2 billion last year, and like half that this year.
Yeah. So hey, you're at the mercy of whose contract comes due. That doesn't include stuff that was a lot of guys signed. We saw, Brad Marchand and Sam Bennett and
Marner.
Could have changed things.
Ratnan was a free agent. Crosby.
Yeah, they all
kinds of free agents
before July 1st hit. So I'm sure the networks will rethink.
Shesterkin was a free agent. They had the best free agent list ever a year ago, and then they all signed.
Whether or not they want to keep doing these July 1 shows, because it was all hands on deck. I had it on in the house. It was watching me. It's like, they got Cheryl Pounder is out, and they got Carlo Koliakovo and
C Pound in the house.
Man, it was, of course, Noodles was there, being Noodles. God love him. But
there's nothing to talk about.
Not a lot, eh?
No.
Who was it, Jack? Who was the biggest name, or what was the biggest? It was, Vladimir Gavrikov.
Close.
Yes.
Vladislav.
Whatever his fucking name is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy. He was a Blue Jacket. Then I thought he was going to be an Oiler, but he was a King, and now he's a So that's
he was good for the Kings.
The Gavrikov sweepstakes take July 1.
Remember, he came over in that deal with Corpusalo, and then they re-upped him immediately to a 2-year deal, and he wanted to go to New York.
Sure.
Had better offers, went to New York, got $49 million.
And if Brock Besser would have signed with Vancouver prior to yesterday, that'd have been even less dough, because he ends up staying.
7 times 7 in a court.
Interesting. I don't know.
And maybe they upped their offer once they went to July 1 and everyone said no to them.
Maybe.
But once a guy gets past that midnight and is like, okay, I've been respected properly.
After midnight.
Very rare to see the turnaround the next day to sign with the team that you just left.
We'll get into it from McLeod Law. Our opening statements, as always, from McLeod Law. Whether your challenge is personal, business, they're in it with you. Small, big, serious, or just, I need a lawyer for this. They're the folks. They're here in Calgary. They're here to help. McLeod-law.com. They're the best. They're my favorite law firm.
Calgary, baby.
Yeah, they're my favorite.
You pop in yesterday, have some burgers?
No.
Oh.
They're Chris.
It was July 1
next week. Eh?
Oh, yeah. I thought.
Yeah. Usually people don't
You're
take
tight,
that
so
Canada
that you
day
get
off.
special access to.
Yeah. So do we feel, because little inside baseball here. We were kind of being not roasted, but there was some criticism coming our way from within the network.
Oh, for not doing July 1?
For not doing, we were one of the only ones.
I know not what you speak, young Dino.
Yeah, we were one of the only shows not to do one. So, are you guys really not going to? No.
They're not really going to do anything. So
no. If they
is Mitch Marner coming here? Sure, we'll do a show.
Then yeah. If they do, we'll go live if there's something mahusive. But I don't know that on July 1 when people are doing stuff, if they're out in a boot, are they going to be streaming old booms, the old boom cat to get the down low?
Yeah, but you could add some better inside scoops.
Yeah, that's what Dreger was saying last week.
Not sure, guys.
Dreger's coming up in a little bit as well.
Right.
Because it was a nothing burger across the league, and certainly for the Flames, we can walk you through it.
Please do.
Take long.
I don't know that I'm up to date.
Well, do you remember Joel Hanley, old
Sure
Force, repping your jersey with style the second half of the year?
But when
He's
was
back.
he signed?
Just ahead of the opening of free agency.
Okay, so that doesn't even really count.
He was.
I mean, it's new since last show, but yeah, you're right. It's not a.
Yeah.
He's still. It was a
It was
contract
a-
renewal.
It was
at
a
that
renewal the night before.
Technicalities.
Yeah.
point.
What'd he
And
get?
then they 1.75, which is Jake Bean
him.
money. I like him more than Jake Bean. I'm okay with that. I can live with that. 2 years.
2 years for the 34-year-old, 1.75.
And to be fair, he was one of your best 4 defensemen last year. That's not a lot of money to spend on a guy like that. And if you can't improve on a guy like that, then Jake Bean or Braden Paul's going to have to be one of your top 4 defensemen.
That's not the measurement I would recommend using, whether or not he was one of your best. It's
You've given him
Can
number
you-
6 money, basically.
can you improve? Right? It's we talked about the same thing with Vladar, where we can get in now. It's like, well, can you improve? Can you get better? They don't bring Vladar back. He's a flyer.
I would think that's just him going to try and be a number one.
He wants more opportunity, and he got a lot more money. I think the Flames had the chance to match and said, "Now we're good."
Well, and the thing is, too,
I don't recommend that.
if you get a chance to go to Philly and be a goaltender there,
Right.
it's the road is paved
That's
with
just
gold.
it.
It's always
Only good things
What were the
happen for
numbers?
goalies in Philadelphia.
See, what were the numbers in Philly?
Oh, just awful goaltending. Like
No. What? How much did he get in Philly? I meant, sorry,
3.35.
3.3.
See, and with the cap space the Flames have and the tandem they have, I was like, if Wolf and them get along, but if he wants to go be a number one, he can't stay.
Yeah, and if you want to take a younger guy and try to groom him that's got more ceiling than Vladar, I get that too, and that's kind of the path that they've taken.
They got a goalie yesterday.
Oh,
They signed 2 guys that didn't play in the NHL last year.
so all the best players in the
Yeah,
not in the NHL.
that's right.
Well, one of the best in the DEL, whatever league that is.
Yeah.
That's
the-
the German.
Deutsche
When you can take-
Eishockey-Ligen.
Mannheim by storm.
Hey, Matt Stajan says, "Watch your mouth."
Get
He had
a
a great time
ticket
there.
to YYC. You know me. Ivan Prosvetov.
Yep.
Mhm.
I heard rumblings.
Yeah.
Who actually, I believe, shut out the Flames once. I remembered at the time this rumor was floated like 2 months ago. He was very good against them 2 years ago in Colorado, if I recall.
Yeah. I mean, we're being a little
He's
cheeky,
a
obviously.
guy. He's a guy. He becomes the highest paid Flames netminder at $1 million.
We went through, it was Monday because you weren't here. I listed off the UFA class of goaltenders to Ryan. We just had the one shot to get his visual,
Okay.
the Pinder meter of excitement for the UFA class. As good as it got was for a Jake Allen, and the
Tepid.
rest were kind of
And honestly, if you had Vladar at the same number as last year, that's fine. There's not a lot of starts for him. I
Why do
can
you
see
care
why.
if you paid him even more?
Well, because
Are
at
you
some
worried
point
are
you're
you
going to
worried
need.
about cap space this year?
No, but I honestly don't. I don't mind if they get a backup that sucks and they finish bottom and pick high.
But that's
Like,
a different
Like if you want to stay
conversation.
right
Yeah.
in the middle, go give Vladar more money than he deserves. That. There was a lot of middle of the roster players yesterday. I was quite happy to see the Flames not take part.
So do you think that was part of the strategy?
No, I think they had a number and they said this is what we value.
I
the
just
player
mean
at.
in general for the Flames because they signed Nick Cicek, who's a defenseman,
That's an HL player. Yeah.
AHL guy. Prosvetov will battle Cooley and probably win the backup job.
Whoever wins it gets to be the backup.
Whoever
The
plays
loser
better.
goes over
Why do you
waivers
get to
and goes
make
to
that
there.
declaration today
What's that?
that guy's going to get the back?
Yeah, I should probably take it back. You know what? I take it back.
It's an open competition.
Here's my-
Because
here's my
everyone
one
was
cam.
drooling over Cooley. Was like,
Yeah, until he was healthy scratching the playoffs and was awful the second half of the year. It was
Oh,
a tale of two
so
seasons.
don't get too high or too low on these voodoo goalies.
100%.
Oh.
What's his first name?
Devin
Devin?
Cooley.
or Logan?
No, Logan's a forward.
Right.
Devin Cooley.
We'll take
Ivan
Logan.
Prusvetov.
Hey, Devin. Sorry, bud. I didn't mean to assume that just because they signed this guy and that he's good. Have a good camp and win it, man.
Yeah, be good.
Competition. It's healthy.
Sorry,
It's
pal.
good.
I take it back.
Yeah.
But there was no. We talked to Conroy. We're going big game. Oh yeah, free agency. We're going to go after some guys. Maybe they did, but they landed none of them.
Well,
they re-signed their own 34-year-old depth defenseman, an AHL guy in theory, and a backup or a guy fighting for the backup job.
Yep.
They didn't. If you were on Team
A
Tank,
random
you're
guy,
very
though.
happy today.
Sure, yeah.
They've kept cap space. They've not signed anybody. They weren't. There was no. Hey, Mangiapane could have him for 3. Don't need more wingers.
No, don't need more wingers. Pelche is an interesting one, but again, I just don't see him cracking the top 9. Like, whose job's he taking? And then it's like, is he going to be a better Ryan Lomberg or Adam Klapka? Like, well, they kind of built that identity for the fourth line. So you can bring him back to be your 13th forward, but he's going to go somewhere he's going to get opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, it was with Tampa, a team that's top heavy with paying the big stars and need some young players that can pop into maybe a third line role. That's a great spot for Pelche, and they got him on low money. That might be the best deal of the day yesterday.
Well, I don't know.
There's no risk. If it goes poorly, you've got a great AHL player. It's 3 years. If he shows any progress, you got 3 years of a guy that theoretically could be a third liner.
I mean, the best signing would be hopefully someone that comes in and lights it up for you.
Oh yeah, I just mean in terms of like what you look at all these deals yesterday. It's like, what's the worst case scenario? And a lot of them are really painful. Like, Jesus, if this guy doesn't age well, or Cody Ceci, $18 million, he looked like a 7 last year. The worst case on Pelche is he's in your American League team for 3 years, and that's fine.
No, I know. Yeah. And the reason you would bring him back here is just for vibes.
Well, because people are familiar with him.
Right.
There's some
Okay,
other
that's
Pelche
easy.
type guys out there.
Yeah.
We
But-
would not be doing backflips because they brought Pelche back.
And I think the fan base is having a tough time with Connie coming in saying, we're going to go big game hunting. And then also saying, come on in, young kids, take a job. We got to trust the process. But his point is this: if you get a chance to talk to a difference making franchise core piece, you have to have that conversation. But they weren't going to blow their brains out with edge of the roster players, which is what much of yesterday was. Don't overpay. And they already have a decent middle of the roster. They just don't have the top.
To me, it was unexciting, but it had to be.
It was
Yes.
what was expected, wasn't it?
Yes.
I think so, but
What pipe dream are we like? Do you have a pipe that you smoked?
No,
that
listen,
made you think that we were on the list of
Is that what a
any
pipe dream
high-end
comes from?
guys? Like, what are we talking about?
Of course not.
exactly. All I'm
Yeah.
saying is Conroy sat here and said, "Yeah, we're gonna go. We're gonna go
Liar.
hunting for. We're gonna put some money out." It's like, okay. And some guys like money. If they get overpaid or if they get an offer that's maybe a little better than they would somewhere else.
That's part of doing the job too. You can't go into free agency and not have the conversation.
Yeah.
If like Nikolai Ehlers is available, you got to say hi. You don't expect that he's going to come here, but doing the job is checking in. I think what happened yesterday is exactly what Craig Conroy expected.
I think the most interesting development around the Flames is what we kind of heard late last week was that Rasmus Andersson approached to some degree about the, how hungry or how willing would he be to sign an extension in a sign and trade scenario with the LA Kings. And he said, not so much. And the belief is that maybe that torpedoed a deal between the Flames and the Kings.
If the deal was contingent,
That was contingent on him
yeah.
signing, and we have to believe that was. We'll talk
Yeah,
to Dregs coming
and-
up. And I get that. You can trade me. I have limited trade protection, and maybe the Kings were on that list, or maybe they weren't.
Doubtful.
So you can trade me, but I want a little time if I'm going to decide where my next 8 years are going to be. That's what UFA is about. I'm a year away from that.
Yeah.
And
Why do you have to? I got in an argument with an alumni yesterday about this. My concern in today's world, and my big take on everything that nobody probably will care about,
Oh,
is that
you
there's
love hot
very
takes.
much NBA vibes to me. This is, I keep saying it sounds like it feels like baseball's coming where the have-nots are going to feed the haves, and it's going to just continue and continue. And the odd time you're going to have a Kansas City team go on a run and maybe have a chance at a championship. Right? Players nowadays seem like they're controlling even without the no trades. The no trade clauses might as well go out the door because they do have a lot of control over what's happening. And on one hand, you're like, well, they should. It's their lives. On the other hand, why did Conroy? So if here's my thought. If you're going to do a sign and trade, okay, what do you want, Rasmus? Kenny, is this good? This money good? Yeah, that money. We'll pay him that money. Okay, let's sign that, Rasmus. You got your contract. Now we trade your ass.
Yeah, but he's not getting no moves. Like that's just he's not signing a
He's
max
got a
term deal with
6-team no move, and LA wouldn't have been on it. The point I'm
Right.
just getting, I understand how it works. I'm saying, why do the teams have to cater so much to this stuff? Is it like, why did Conroy or what right does Andersson have to know that? No, you're signing the contract with us. Like Marner signed with who?
Vegas.
Yeah.
Well, first he signed with
Signed with
Toronto.
Toronto.
That's my point, though. It's
Right,
He
but if
didn't
he-
sign with Vegas. He's signed with Toronto. So you're signing the contract with me. And his is different a little bit, but not really. Like if you're signing a contract with the Flames and then getting traded, sign the contract. Do you have a no trade list? Yes. Is LA on it? No. Fuck you. You're going to LA.
Yeah, he's the guy that gets a full no move.
Well, but this,
And then you
maybe.
could say that's what's wrong with the league, but that's just the market he's in.
Now they could have traded him assuming he's not on his no trade list.
Yeah.
They could trade him to LA.
And the thought was
He would- he
Columbus
would
and
have-
Ottawa were interested too, and there might have been teams that were on the no trade.
If the Kings aren't on his list, you can trade him to LA. But what LA was prepared to pay for him for 1 year, as opposed to 1 year plus the extension,
Yeah.
is a different return.
Totally.
understand. I
So-
still go back to what I'm saying is that if Rasmus wants 9 times 8, and you could give it to him before free agency day and before the change to the CBA,
Yep.
and not have LA on his no trade, why do I have to make him aware if I'm going to trade him to LA?
He's not signing the 9 times 8 without a full no move. That's why.
Okay.
And that's just the market he's got because he's got the leverage. And we'll ask Dregs about that. But you know what we used to be able to do that really solved all these problems is you would attach a conditional first to a trade that says if he resigns, here's the other first. If he doesn't, here's the deal. For some reason, the NHL took that away. And it's challenging because when you see the Noah Hannafin return, you're like, well, shit.
Yeah, you're handcuffing.
He signed for another 8 years. He said he wasn't sure at the time. Tampa was his preferred team, whatever. But I don't know why they got rid of that conditional pick because it really solved all this problem, didn't it?
Yes, that would.
If he resigns, here's an extra compensatory pick. Now, I imagine the agents probably said, ooh, I don't know. That's going to hurt the player's leverage, a tiny,
they've got
iota.
lot.
But it's that was what you used to do.
Mhm.
And
And
now
that
you do
is
it. It's
the
like, oh, if
answer.
they win the cup, we'll give you this. The second round, that. But screw that. What really matters for the Vegas Golden Knights is that they got Hannafin for 9 years.
Wow, and what
Not
it's
2
going
months.
to do,
That's a huge difference.
what it's going to do if it doesn't change, poor Conroy is suffering through it with all the defensemen he's going to lose for less than top fucking dollar or return, I think.
Well, I mean,
Yes,
look, he could change.
I know,
trade
but
guys
what
anytime.
they're going to do is they're going to trade. They were doing what you said and trade him a year early, where you're like, well, you get him for 2 years, and that's up you to re-sign him, right? You're less.
Yep.
You're less.
which was the option they had last year.
Yeah, the catch isn't going to be, well, is he going to resign with us? Well, you got him for 2 years. Like you're
Yeah.
just going to move guys earlier.
Yeah. Well, and we were yelling and screaming about trading him this year. No one's talking about an extension at trade deadline. You're not even allowed to extend a guy.
He's
till
now a
yesterday.
distraction.
Agreed.
I was going to say it was a week ago, less than, where Conroy said, no, he's not going to be a distraction. He's going to come
It
in.
is a
Well, that was about 48 hours. Now it's absolutely a distraction. And
Maybe not as much so for them, but it's a distraction in that room.
It's going to be the biggest talking point in the market for the next 5 months.
maybe they can
Until
put
it's
up
done.
the walls and they don't hear the media
this is
chatter
the problem
and all
with
that.
the player nowadays, though, too, is that, oh, I want all this and all that, but don't question any of this or ask, right? Like,
Mhm.
I don't like being stressed out about being at, well,
My family member said somebody said this on this show and someone wrote that. And this guy said this on socials. Can't have it both ways.
I just know for me, it was because then it was, well, he'd go to Vegas.
oh, great.
Rasmus would say, so all it was for that I had over the last 3 or 4 days, like, so Rasmus has really backed him into a corner. Hey, so what is it with Vegas? Does Vegas want to? I don't know what the scenario is. I don't know what the conversations are. Our next guy is going to have a little more intel on all this. He's our insider on the Insider Hotline for Crystal Waters Plumbing and Heating. 10% off a new air conditioner. My kid said to me yesterday, "Oh, I'm so thankful for this air conditioner."
Really?
Oh my gosh! Yeah.
Never said thank you.
Kids being thankful.
I know.
That's interesting. You're a
Well
great
raised.
father.
I'm a
Great,
great guy.
great parenting.
Yeah. 10% off that AC, 1 year of free preventative maintenance. Crystal Waters Plumbing and Heating, your crystal clear choice for home comfort. CrystalClearCalgary.com. He was so busy yesterday.
Gosh.
He needed an AC in there, just pouring sweat from covering all those Huge signings on Free Agent Frenzy on TSN yesterday, Dregs. You made it.
Made it. Yeah, made it. It was more the lead up, obviously, right? Like there was some late night, early morning type of nonsense going on around the National Hockey League. And, I've reached a point, age in my career, and I could say this now as we celebrated the retirement of Bob McKenzie to conclude our coverage yesterday. But I'm like, 2:00 in the morning, whatever night it was, Sunday, I don't know. And I'm like, what am I doing here? Like, I got to get that tweet out because I got to update this. But that's the appetite for the National Hockey League fan, I suppose. But yeah, yesterday it had its bizarreness, right? Legitimately, there was the threat of offer sheets. And anytime you get that, now you've got my interest because it doesn't happen very often. Yeah, I know it happened with Edmonton and the St. Louis Blues. But K'Andre Miller is not in Carolina without the threat of an offer sheet. That's just the reality of the situation. And Bo Byram, keep an eye on that one with the Buffalo Sabres, because I can assure you that Darren Ferris is working on that possibility. Yeah. And Ferris is also the agent for Broberg, right? Who ended up with the offer sheet in St. Louis. So not his first rodeo, and it's a pressure mechanism. That's what it was yesterday. The Hurricanes basically telling the New York Rangers, look, we'll happily make a trade with you, but we're going to offer sheet this guy. So which way do you want it to go?
Did you hear the same on Bouchard? I'd heard that there was a team preparing one for Bouchard, and that's what got the Oilers to get that done across the line.
Could have been Carolina too. They're ready to step in one. There's no doubt about that. And that speaks to Tom Dundon, the owner of the Carolina Hurricanes, and just his appetite to improve his team. But everybody kind of frowns at. We don't, collectively as analysts or media anymore because it's fun to talk about it. But I think generally speaking, most managers would go, well, I got to be careful with that stuff because if it happens, if I do it to him, somebody's going to do it to me. Well, that's fine. It's a mechanism inside the collective bargaining agreement. You can use it as a tool, and you can use the threat of the offer sheet as a tool. And yeah, I think that's exactly why Bouchard got done so quickly. But I think that's a fair deal for the Oil. I do. 4 years. Bouchard, if he plays as well as they need him to play, not sporadically, more often than not, then it's a heck of a deal. And he'll cash in again after that 4-year extension expires. But K'Andre Miller, fellas, was an interesting story to follow. The Calgary Flames definitely were in on K'Andre Miller. Definitely in on him. Now, when Carolina threatened the offer sheet, then Chris Drury and the New York Rangers had to go, okay, hold on a minute here. We have to focus on making this deal with the Carolina Hurricanes. And I have an idea. I'm not going to share who the players might have been involved. That would go back the other way. I don't think that's fair to them because it didn't happen. But going into the day, when that day started, I had a good sense K'Andre Miller was going to join the Calgary Flames. That's the way it felt. And then obviously went a different direction.
So he's 25. He's a left shot D. There's another similar piece that you mentioned, Bowen Byram. Asking, it seems like reading the tea leaves, the challenge here is that he had an incredible run with Colorado in the playoffs in 2022, and he's been very mediocre since and wants more opportunity, wants a big salary, and the Sabres want a lot for him. So what the hell are you buying if you're going to add Bowen Byram?
Well, he thinks he's a number one defenseman. He's a top pairing guy. He's a power play guy. And I think that's why most teams have explored the interest in Bo Byram. Like LA really liked the idea of Bo Byram. They did because, there are many nights where the LA Kings are rolling out a 5-forward power play. Drew Doughty can't do everything, right? So they look at him as helping that cause. And this is where, again, and he's a restricted free agent. He's not an unrestricted free agent, but Darren Ferris is the agent here. He doesn't mind spinning the Ferris wheel, and he does it with a lot of his guys. And he's looking at it. He's all right. Well, Byram's 2 years away from unrestricted free agency. He has arbitration rights. If he goes to Arb and you have him for one more year, I'm sure the message to Kevin Adams is you lose your leverage, because nobody is going to trade for Bo Byram with 1 year left, because he is going to walk into free agency. No different than Mitch Marner just did. You know, Sam Bennett is the outlier here because he stayed with the Florida Panthers. Again, a client of Darren Ferris. So right now it sure feels like all of the pressure is on Kevin Adams to get the best deal that he can. And, you know, I reported on it yesterday, and I'm not convinced that the threat is gone of an offer sheet on Bo Byram. Calgary for sure is interested in him. You know, mentioned LA. You know, Vegas, fellas, they still might not be done. You know, I heard you as we're coming into the segment talking about Rasmus Andersson. Yeah, and I agree with everything you said. Sure, he's got 1 year left. I can appreciate Craig Conroy and management of the Flames wanting to be patient and saying, yeah, he'll be fine. You know, he can come to camp. We'll start the season and see if the offers get better. They had phenomenal offers. Phenomenal for Rasmus Andersson. One from LA that'd blow your socks off. Not players, but anyway, a hell of an offer, and he wouldn't go. He wouldn't go. He wouldn't.
So where
extend.
are the offers for him as a rental?
Not as good as they were, and maybe, but you know, again, it's. I can appreciate in that market that guys are, and I'm not saying you guys are critical of the position that Rasmus Andersson is in right now, but he negotiated and earned his contract. And with that contract comes the right of saying no. And I think Ottawa had a package ready. Columbus had a package ready. LA had a package ready. Vegas made an offer that they thought was fair. The Flames didn't think it was fair, obviously, or he'd be there because, as you guys talked about, that appears to be where he wants to go. But this is a spicy one. And it probably isn't going to get less spicy unless he relents and says, okay, I'll go. But unless it's a perfect scenario, he's not going because he's not going to extend with any of the teams we've talked about.
Does it not make, I don't know. Maybe I'm just grumpy because I had too much fun on Canada Day, but it just feels like you want players to have say and the right to go. And yes, he earned the contract, and I think he's been way underpaid for what he offers.
Yeah.
But they really, and I guess there's a change. You said it with Adams in Buffalo. You better move him now. And is that just a learning curve? Maybe almost an overplay on Conroy's, or where you can't go to this because once you get to that last year, you don't get as much for the rental if teams want to re-sign them.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to move them earlier and recognize that you can't get the deal done.
Yeah.
Or does this just scream there's going to be, I keep saying it because I believe it. It's baseball, and the Habs are going to be in the situation to keep collecting the higher end players and the better players, and the have-nots are going to groom them into that. And yes, you might have a stab while your team's growing and you maybe go on a run, but at some point, all these higher end, like Florida's and those, I don't know, those teams are going to keep taking it. Like, how is LA not a situation where Rasmus Andersson wants to go play? What in the F are we talking about?
I don't, well, other than the taxes. Yeah.
What about just his only chance of free agency in his whole career?
What's that?
It's his only chance of free agency his whole career.
Is that not
reasonable to say that I just want to see what's out there? Don't ask me to commit to a place I've never lived sight unseen. Like I've basically been there one day at a time my whole life.
Agreed. But it's fine to do that. And I'll use the Mitch Marner experience different because, you know, he's a pending unrestricted free agent. But both sides in Toronto decided before the start of the year that the focus had to be on hockey. It wasn't going to be on a contract. That didn't mean that Brad Treliving couldn't go to Marner and his camp, Ferris, and have a conversation about an extension at varying points of the year. And undoubtedly that happened. But that takes some intestinal fortitude as a player, right? So now you do have to focus on being as good as you can be. And he was in the regular season, right? And then things didn't go great for him, for the Toronto Maple Leafs in general. He wasn't alone in the criticism that they deserved in the playoffs. but he stuck to it, man. He stuck to it for a year. And that's what Andersson's going to have to look forward to. And you know, sure, I mean, there's been lots of speculation around the Vegas Golden Knights and the shenanigans and all that. I don't buy it. I don't. And I want to remind people that McCrimmon and the Golden Knights tried to acquire Mitch Marner no fewer than twice. Actually, I think 3 times, including at the trade deadline, where there was a 3-way trade, as we recall, right? Toronto, Carolina, Vegas. He waived to go to Vegas. He would not waive to go to Carolina. So the interest from the Vegas Golden Knights and Mitch Marner is pretty obvious. So why are we talking about everything that went on behind the scenes and this is illegal and this, all of that stuff? You know, Marner stuck it out. So, you know, is Rasmus Andersson going to be able to deal with that? You guys talked about it. Whether it's only a distraction if he allows it to become a distraction, but he's not going to manage the media.
Yeah.
He's going to get asked about it through training camp, and not only in Calgary, every city that the Flames visit, he's going to get asked about it. He's going to get, certainly in the second half of the season, and maybe that becomes a distraction. It doesn't if his game remains solid and he doesn't allow it to be. But I still feel like if Calgary can make the Bo Byram deal somehow, some way, then just make a deal for Andersson in Vegas and move on.
Yeah, that's kind of we talked about this last week.
He's not lived in Vegas either, so all of a sudden,
yeah, that's true. We don't. Yeah, loves service away. With the LA, like obviously that feels like it was contingent on him signing an extension.
Yeah,
of all is as opposed to his no trade, because he has what 6 teams, so it's a small no trade.
It is,
or no move. Were these other deals? Did they all fall into the signing an extension contingency, or was it no trade? Because it's what it is here, and Rhett was talking about it. And I think a lot of the fans feel like this is again, Conroy and the Flames are getting the runaround by the players. The players have so much sway, and I get it. If you're asking him, hey, would you sign an extension with Team X? And he says no. That's a step further. That's you're now asking, it's a great deal for us. We'd get a lot more in return. Yeah. I don't give a shit what you get in return at the end of the day if I'm Rasmus Andersson. That's great for you. But 8 years, the next 9 years of my life potentially with the extension. So I get it. But I can't help but wonder. You've now passed the draft and free agency. You're into the summer. Money's been spent. Yeah, the cap's going up, but still, I just wonder how it feels like it does become really hard to get max value. And I don't know what max value even looks like. I feel like if the offers would have been intriguing, you'd have had it done by now. But I might be wrong.
Well, no, again, I'll repeat myself. I know the LA offer, my understanding is that it was terrific. And there were other offers that, I'm not saying Conroy would have pulled the trigger on immediately, but this is all part of that dance. And I would assume that, sure, if you're giving up the assets that you're giving up to acquire this player, the reason you want the player is on a longer term. Right. And I do understand and I do appreciate that position. But like Red said, I mean, it's not like you're getting sent to an outpost when you're getting traded to Los Angeles. And taxes are taxes, and basically the vast majority of the market of the National Hockey League. But he decided he's going to dig in.
In the CBA, I think it was an NFL trade the other day. Yeah. I don't remember. Instead of allowing the no trades, like I don't know if you could ever get rid of the no trades or the no movement clauses. They don't really mean anything anyway, except you're trying to screw the team over, I guess. But blah 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 blah. As opposed to a no movement, what about a movement clause where it's you get paid? Okay, there's no movement clauses anymore, but there are movement
payments.
Okay, if you want to trade me, I can't get a no move, but you're going to trade me. It's $5 million, or you know what I mean, whatever it might be, and maybe that doesn't even count against the cap, but it allows the teams to go, Jesus, like we're trying to do right by all these players, and this is how they hold it to us.
Yeah,
I just don't know that it. I'm a player, but
Yeah.
I'm actually worried that the other side doesn't have as much say as they should. They're the guys writing the bloody checks,
Don't have them
and the
out there.
players are being pouty pants about it. Like,
Yeah.
come on.
Yeah, it is easy to say don't give them, right? And there have been managers like Lou Lamoriello hated, all of the trade protection, because it buckles you down. That's pretty obvious. But it depends on the player that you're talking about. Your Rasmus Andersson's a pretty good player. Like that would almost be automatic, wouldn't it? When you're having that negotiation, the fact that he's got a limited no trade might be considered a victory. But you do, like, from the financial, I understand what you're saying, Rhett, and it won't happen because it won't, because it further would encourage the haves and the have-nots. The Toronto Maple Leafs and the New York Rangers have nothing but money. If they can cherry pick the best players by throwing in $5 million, that's what they're going to do, to convince the team, or however the dynamic of that works. You are seeing. Go ahead.
Well, Pinder brought up they used to be able to say the conditional, right?
Yeah. So you used to have a conditional pick for if a guy re-signed, and that would alleviate all the issues Craig Conroy is facing, because you can just say, all right, LA, here's the package.
Yeah.
And if he extends there, we add another first.
Yeah.
Okay, Vegas, you're getting Noah Hannafin. This is a fair deal for a rental, but if he signs with you guys, you got to tack on another first. That tool was taken away, and I really don't understand why, because you can see the conundrum it's led to for the Flames with Rasmus.
Sure. And I don't have an answer for you as to why it would be removed. For this very scenario, you do have other means of kind of sweetening the pot. Like, teams will wait until a certain day, like get past July 1st. We'll eat the signing bonus, whatever that annual sign. Sometimes it's big money.
Yeah.
It's not just a couple $100,000. Like, it can be millions of dollars on July 1st.
Mm-hmm.
And teams will say that, all right, let's agree to the trade. We can't announce it until July 2nd because we'll eat the signing bonuses. So there are mechanisms, but I honestly, I don't have an answer for you as to why they removed that conditional pick. I don't, because it would make a lot of sense.
No, and I'm not looking for you to spill on anything, but you mentioned Keandre Miller and the Flames. Do you believe that was an Andersson deal, or was that something that was maybe separate?
No, I don't think it was Andersson. I think it was separate. Potentially a forward is what I was told. But because New York, when we started yesterday, we were basically 95% sure that Gavrikov was going to end up with the New York Rangers.
Yeah, it's been the rumor for months.
Yeah. And Keandre Miller, that he seemed to be the most likely trade target. And, there are other things, obviously, the Kreider deal that Chris Drury has done that put him in a position so that they could do this. And I don't think the Rangers are done yet either, but I think it was Keandre Miller for a forward and whatever else. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if you have the answer to this either. I've been asked 2 or 3 times in the last day. How does Florida get to sign a 37-year-old to a 6-year deal? Are there no guardrails? Is there nothing?
No.
Like, can you sign him? How old is too old?
Well, it's funny. I think Jeff O'Neill said on air, by year 3 of this thing, he's going to be a $6 million skills coach.
Yeah.
Something like that.
There are last year, right? Like, it's just guys that you knew aren't going to be healthy till the end.
Yeah. No guardrails. And I'm pretty sure, I don't know this, I heard it somewhere in the travels yesterday, that Billy Zito or Florida actually reached out to the league to say, hey, we're going to do this, just giving you the heads up. So how they make the money work moving forward, year 3, 4, 5, 6, who knows? I mean, maybe the guy just defies Mother Nature, Father Time, and he's playing in the league at that point.
Yeah, like 37. My math is not good. I hate when math gets involved. 37 plus 6, that's a big number. I just wondered if there would be.
Well, have you watched Ovechkin play? You watch him play this season.
Perry?
I mean, Corey Perry's another one. I mean, you just got to change your game, obviously. Like, there's not a lot of mileage on Alex Ovechkin game by game anymore. Yeah. He gets to a spot and just stays there until the puck arrives.
What your thoughts on Vancouver? It was a tumultuous year, to say the least there.
Mm.
But Demko, Garland, and Besser all end up staying. I guess maybe the Besser and how that came to be because he signed after July, after it hit. But they're keeping the band together in a lot of the ways.
I want to give Adam Foote some credit here. And maybe it's just pure extension of Rick Tocchet in that bench. I think Brock Besser primarily stays because he was comfortable with Rick Tocchet, has a great relationship with Adam Foote. He knows what to expect. I'm sure Patrick Galvin, the general manager, said, hey, we're going to start the year, unless something just pops in our lap here. We're going to start the year with Elias Pettersson as our number one center. Philip Hedl is healthy. He's going to be our number two. But we're having trade conversations. And if there is a possibility of adding another center, a 3A or a 2C, that's what we're going. So he probably, collectively, they probably sold Brock Besser on, hey, this isn't a bad spot. And Besser I think he has a girlfriend. I don't think they're married. But anyway, they like their life in Vancouver. I can tell you when the day started, talking to someone close to Brock, he had at least 10 teams that were positioning offers in a myriad of ways. Short term, lots of money with a good team and a bad team. Long term, lower AAV with a good team and a bad team. Like, what do you want to do? We'll sign it all.
Yeah.
So I think in the end, he just stayed with being comfortable in Vancouver.
Yeah. What do you make of the Oilers? We know what the Florida Panthers did to remain. They kept their guys, and they're going for it again for the Oilers. It's been back-to-back Cup Finals.
Yeah.
Perry leaves. We've seen a lot of players leave.
Brown,
the
Kane.
Goalies are the same as of today, as of this recording.
Klingberg
They add
down.
Mangiapane yesterday, so that's some scoring there. I know, and it's probably overblown, but it's very much what can they do to keep Connor happy? Is Connor happy? Have they shown enough to keep Connor? I'm guessing the answer is probably no, but you're pretty limited there with what the dough is. I guess with what they're able to do, the job done by the Oilers to this part.
Well, I'm more curious about what you guys think of Mangiapane. His market was decent. There's no doubt about that. Brad Treliving, I'm sure, kicked tires, as a lot of teams did. They felt like they needed somebody who can play with Leon Draisaitl. Can Mangiapane play with Leon Draisaitl? I mean, we're going to find out, but that's the thinking with that signing. And, they were bargain shopping to a degree. They cleared the cap space, moved the pieces that they did, mostly because Draisaitl's extension kicks in, and the Bouchard extension obviously gobbles up a big chunk of the salary cap. So Bowman didn't have a whole lot to work with. And I think it's probably best case scenario, because when, I just talked about Vancouver shopping, Toronto's got to shop for a top six. Montreal made a sweetheart deal in Noah Dobson, but they need help up front. They were going hard after Jordan Kyrou in St. Louis and didn't find a way. So anyway, there's a lot of teams that are in the trade market. So at least Edmonton gets something back. I guess the one that surprised me the most was Corey Perry. I thought with some of the creativity that we've seen around the league, with Stales getting Giroux done, Tavares with the Toronto Maple Leafs, Matt Duchene with the Dallas Stars, Jamie Benn with the Dallas Stars, go down the list, that Edmonton could find a creative way to do it, because fan favorite, saw him perform in the playoffs, basically has said, look, I feel like I've got one more good year in me, but that's how tight it is. That's how tight it is for the salary cap and the Edmonton Oilers. They just couldn't afford to have Corey Perry on board.
It's wild, their winger depth. Like it's tough to argue having McDavid, Draisaitl, Henrique, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins as center options. But I mean, Zach Hyman's a great winger. And after that, you're talking about, okay, well, we'll put RNH on the wing. And now it's Pud Colson or Mangiapane. Guys that played fourth line roles last year.
I know.
Oh, well, Trent Frederick. And he's like, yeah, he was a great bottom six winger. Yeah. Well, what about Kapanen? Well, he was on waivers. He's a fourth line guy. Like, you're literally putting scraps around that center group in the forward ranks.
Well, and that's why when you ask, is Connor happy? I mean, he's not a dummy. He understands the restraints, and he's a part of it, right? Like, he wants his big slice of the pie, and he's going to get that big slice of the salary cap coming up. No rush, by the way, on that front, but it'll get done. Inevitably, it'll get done. We're all curious as to what is that term going to look like. Obviously, Edmonton's going to want to lock him up for as long as they possibly can, but maybe McDavid goes the path that Bouchard went, goes with a 4-year contract extension. So, but McDavid has to be paying attention to what's going on around the league. I mean, guys, are the Florida Panthers any worse than they were the night they won the Stanley Cup? I don't think they are. They kept their 3 primary free agents. Okay, Nate Schmidt probably would have stayed in Florida, but he resurrected his career, and there was a payday waiting for him, and he got paid. So good on Nate Schmidt. But they replaced Nate Schmidt with Jeff Petrie. Well, is that really a significant drop-off for the Florida Panthers? I don't think it is. So if you're Connor McDavid and you're Leon Draisaitl, and by the way, the lost Gulletson, who's been named head coach, of course, of the Dallas Stars, and he's the McDavid Draisaitl whisperer was in Edmonton. So they're looking around going, Jesus, now if we're lucky enough to make it back to the Stanley Cup final out of the West, are we better?
Yeah.
Are we better than we were in Game 5 and Game 6 against a juggernaut team in Florida? And my answer is no, they're not. And I don't know how they get better.
And Dregs, the challenge is you're not asking Connor McDavid if the last 2 years have been good, because they have. And you're not asking him if they can be competitive this year.
Yeah.
You're asking him to pick from 2 years out until an undecided amount of time.
Right.
They know the system. They're up against it on the cap. They're already the oldest team in the league last year.
Yeah.
It's becoming a tougher sell, in my opinion.
Yeah. And now you get 20+ million locked in on 2 defensemen, right? In Bouchard
One's
and
earning
Darren.
yes.
I mean, it's a tough one. They're just, we know the salary cap is going up next year, and then it's leaping again the year after that and the year after that. But is that really going to change a whole bunch of stuff? I mean,
No.
Your good players always come up and need deals, and they're just going to get that bigger piece.
Yeah, and nobody's going to take a discount to go to Edmonton.
No one did yesterday.
No one's staying. Like Darnell Nurse wasn't going to play for less to stay in Edmonton, and I don't again, but in Florida they will apparently.
Well, and the other thing here, and I don't know why people get so offended by it, but you look at that, like, God love Edmonton. Who wouldn't want to play with Connor McDavid? Of course you would, but you look at the aggressiveness of Kelly McCrimmon and the Vegas Golden Knights. They always get the best players. The best available players always end up in Vegas or in with the 2 Florida teams. Dallas has done a nice job. Well, that's not changing anytime soon. So unless you draft and you develop and you're willing to be patient with some of these young guys, or you overpay. That's what the Canadian teams have to do.
Winnipeg.
That's what they have to do. Winnipeg, we haven't talked about Winnipeg, took it right between the eyes on Brock Besser staying in Vancouver, right between the lookers, because, they were willing to overpay Brock Besser to replace Nikolai Ehlers. Couldn't do it. So now what? It's just they sign guys by committee. Kepke and Tanner Pearson and Clegg. I mean,
Walker Dewar.
Yeah.
Flame Walker Dewar. Yeah. You mentioned Ehlers. As of this recording, he's not been nailed down.
Top dog.
Thoughts on him?
Well, I mean, I believe the speculation. Carolina, we know, is keenly interested. And every team has checked in on him, right? I mean, there again, if you're looking for a plan B, Toronto would love Nikolai Ehlers. Winnipeg would love to bring him back. I mean, just go on and on and on. Weirdly, and this is, I don't know Ehlers very well. Interviewed him a bunch. Seems like a pleasant dude, heck of a hockey player, always willing to help in the community and all that. Doesn't like the spotlight even a little bit. And spotlight isn't that bright in Winnipeg. I mean, you go there, you play your games, you do your media, you want to go fishing. You're 20 minutes from a lake to do some fishing, hunting, do whatever you do. Like, fans aren't parked out front of your house is what I'm saying, right? So, he's choosing a lifestyle very, very carefully, to the point Bobby Mack reported on, like, Ehlers is such a cool customer. He was golfing yesterday. during free agency. He's playing golf in Denmark. Yeah, don't worry about it. That's what I got an agent for. We'll figure it out. So, yeah, I suspect that'll get done in a day or two. I don't know for sure, but it sounds like Carolina would be the front runner.
Yeah, and I maybe manifesting things. Watching Colorado yesterday, and Jonathan Drouin goes to the Islanders. Like, well, that was kind of that's Nate's line mate from junior, and it was a big thing. He came in, they let him go for $4 million a year. Is it possible they're keeping their powder dry if some kind of a player wants to come and play in Denver this year? Is there any chance? Then it'd be like, geez, I guess we shouldn't have got spent that $4 million on Drouin. We could have used it a better way. Yeah,
but don't forget they don't have the LTIR on Landeskog anymore, right? And that was money that they would invest in these pieces. You know, they didn't get Jonathan Taves. They were gutted by that. I'm not sure how they would have made that work anyway. I mean, there's always a way to make it work. You move guys out, right? Or you've got an LTIR situation that is going to present itself at the start of the year, and you're fine until you're not fine, and you've got to remedy it. But yeah, they thought they were getting Taves until they didn't, and so I am a little bit surprised that they didn't try and invest in other areas. I don't know what sort of package was presented to Jonathan Drouin. I heard the San Jose Sharks made up just a enormous offer. And that would make sense because there's a team that's just scraping to get to the floor. Yeah. Like, you get $5 million, you get $5 million. Like, honestly, like that. But to Drouin's credit, I think that with all due respect to San Jose, if that's the way it played out, he wanted to go to a place where he felt like, they're on the upswing and there's an opportunity to win, and we'll see if that plays out. So do you get Mackenzie's parking spot? Is there like the Bob Father office? Your pay has to go up now because you just become more senior. Okay, so I will tell you a story. No, I don't get his parking spot. Mine is way down the way. So I will be talking about that. Yeah. We have dressing rooms, a couple of the fortunate few. I'm one of those, and Bob is right next to mine, but I like the layout of his better. So I might take that. I haven't decided that. Not a boy, Drake. You got to fight Duthie? Is it Duthie? Is he the guy? Yeah. Like Duthie is front row center, right in front of the doors. And then Bob is like 2 spots from James. Gino Retta's in there too, but Gino's just old. So he needs to, like he's got a cane, and next year Walker. I mean, he's got to roll himself in pretty soon there. But no, the quick Bob story though is, so when Sportsnet got the first round of the NHL rights, was that 12 years ago? How many years ago that is? So TSN was terrified. They're both gone. They've moved on to Stu Johnson as the commissioner of the CFL, right? He and Mark Milliere, who was the head of TSN at the time, met us in Ottawa. We were doing a game, and Bob and I and James individually, and said, we're tearing up your deals. They were scared we were going to jump ship. It was just a beautiful situation. Seriously. So here's your deal. So then independently the negotiations start, and my number was nice. I liked it, but I said, no. Here's the number I need. And I said, and you know why? Because Bobby Mack is going to retire one day. And I exaggerated. I said in the next 6-7 years. Well, he went a lot longer than that, but 6-7. And they went, oh, geez, that's a good thought. Never thought of that. So I stung him. So that was Bobby's, that was his retirement gift to me a long time ago. Yeah. I wonder, his number may have gone up because of that too. Maybe stick around for a few extra years. Nah, I talked to him today. I was trying to lure him into one of these things, like a podcast. Or he's like, no, I'm not doing it. No. He's made that pretty clear. I know at the end of every July 1, he was very happy to let everyone know, I'm going to the lake. I'm done. Bobby Marley. Yeah, I'm out of here. But he's just one of the good guys. And there's a lot of people who came out yesterday on social media, right? He's taught people a lot. There was a real kind of respect and ethic way of doing things that led to Bob being the most respected guy. Because he's not out
like, yeah, everybody wants to break
Yeah.
trades, but he was not going to do it at the risk of either being wrong or sewering a source or anything like that. It was that ethical way of doing it. that
Agreed.
made him the best.
Yeah, I mean, a great mentor for me, 100%. Like just the most competitive person that I know in media, probably will ever meet, but ethically, we all bend the rules from time to time, and you creep up to that line of where, well, don't be surprised if this happens, but if this doesn't happen, maybe that happens, that sort of thing. But a manager reached out to me after word broke, of course, that Bob wasn't coming back, and I thought he put it beautifully. He just said, of all the things, Boomer, that you just talked about, Bob, the pioneer of the hockey insider business, no doubt. I'm not sitting here without Bob McKenzie. Elliot Friedman is not doing what he's still working at the Score, if not for Bob McKenzie, with all due respect. That's the truth. But this general manager said to me, Bob always would grind for the facts, get the information, but when he reported, he didn't try and hurt anybody in the process. The player, either team, anyone involved, there was always a positive spin to his reporting, and I'm mindful of that. And it's also why I don't engage in social media nearly as much as I once did. I don't need the noise or the nonsense. That's Bobby Mack.
So, Summer, what's happening?
I've got a charity golf event on Friday, and then Saturday morning she's wheels up, heading west. Yeah, in the Sierra AT4. I actually just cut a big hunk of foam, 58 inches long, 37 inches wide, to fit in the back seat of the truck for Tiny the Great Dane.
Yeah.
Gotta look after the Great Dane.
Gotta be comfy, yeah.
Yeah, so we drive to Sault Ste. Marie Saturday morning, Thunder Bay on Sunday, spend half the day with my daughters there, and then the rest of the journey on Monday, I guess. So we'll be at the Cabbage on Lake of the Prairie by Monday or Tuesday morning at the latest.
God, sounds nice.
I might be knocking on your door.
Great.
I'm
told I gotta
Do
go
it.
out there, so
I'm there. I'll
right.
be lassoing walleye by
attaboy.
Thursday's men's diet at the old Lake of the Prairies golf course, so I probably won't do that, but Friday the latest.
Yeah. You got a lot on your plate. It's
Well, I'm gonna have a lot on my plate a week from now.
yeah. All right, fella. We appreciate you. You're the best. People love that we get you on here. So thanks for all the time you put in with us.
Thanks, George.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having me. I look forward to next season, assuming that we're going to continue on with this wonderful relationship. And bought a nice fancy Blackstone, which has been added to the family out west. So I'll be sending you some breakfast.
Congrats.
Send pictures.
In the
For some of us,
kitchen.
some of us are far more excited and interested in that stuff than Nikolai
Cares about
Ehlers.
Walker Dewar.
Exactly.
Blackstone.
Exactly. I'll send you pics, boys. You guys
Very
have a great
nice.
summer.
See you, Dregs.
Thanks.
There you go. He is our boy, Darren Dreger, on the Insider Hotline, a presentation of Crystal Waters Plumbing and Heating, your crystal clear choice for home comfort. 403-219-4100, or check them out at crystalclearcalgary.com.
These guys work their asses off all year.
They do.
They all shut her down today.
And you know what it is? It's not like you're breaking your back, but you can't leave your phone.
Never.
You go to a
Buzzes at
movie,
2 a.m.
you go just
Yeah.
check it. Gotta check it.
Yeah.
Well, that's what's.
You would be the worst.
You are the worst insider.
Like the worst.
We can't even get your pals to played with you on
You
this
would be
damn
at
show.
you'd be at a steak dinner and guys would say, "Yeah, I think we're trading for a Ginla," and you'd be like, "What?"
You don't have any horseradish?
Oh,
Yeah, I heard at dinner the other night they were trading them.
You didn't say
You
it?
didn't say it. Well, was that important?
Oh, you got me in trouble early on in my
I don't think I did.
media. Oh yeah, you
got
and
yourself
Watts
in
would always give me shit saying you got. Oh, whoa, I was, and then the one day I was down doing in between periods, and Gio got hurt, and he told, as a good friend, what just said, yeah, I'm screwed, and I kind of told you that in between in a break,
Yeah.
and you would flip your lids. What do you do? You gotta let people. We gotta let this is big news. Then I got my pee slapped.
Did you? Not by me.
No, by
I haven't.
the big squad down
Right.
at the Saddle Dome way rise.
But you know what, though? It just means they're paying attention and you're having an impact.
Oh, yeah, positive impact in my life.
Yeah.
I'm still.
God, you look hungover today. Are you okay?
My eyes are a little.
Like, did you drink 2 bottles?
Your
What's
voice
the
is
story
actually okay.
Your voice is a little dry.
here? It's a rough look right
So
now.
so we get up, have a good day, head over to Bondo's
Yeah.
at
Bondo.
around 2-ish.
Yep.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Having a couple drinks, and then that big mouth Kuntz,
Yeah.
he starts running his yap like he's in shape, and I said, "Well, I got up and swam the lake already today. Like I'm in training. Like I can." And then the challenge came out.
Guys are so
Like
stupid.
I will kick your ass and I'm like, I've never lost a swim meet
Okay.
ever, like
Undefeated.
undefeated.
How many wins, though?
It's like,
like
the torpedo here.
Gold ribbons or red ribbons across the board.
Brett the Jet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so of course the race
Uh-huh.
is on,
Yes, it is.
and we have to we're at the Lake Bonavista or something. There's an
Yeah.
island, and I'm
Okay.
like, let's go. We'll go around the island. We'll see. And so I was feeling good at the time, and I'm like,
Yeah.
and the swim, because it's hot out, this is going to be invigorating.
Right.
So when I'm done, I'm going to even be better,
Yeah.
and I'll really have a long runway of drinking and partying
Yeah.
and celebrating of Canada. Whew.
It was a runway.
First of all, Kuntz cheated,
Okay.
and he
yeah.
quit. He went up onto the island and ran around the island. It swam
cheating.
about 1/8 of the distance.
Yeah.
And everyone was cheering. And
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
And I finished it, and started to cramp a little bit.
It'll
I
happen.
started to worry.
How are your
Am
shoulders?
I going under?
Yeah.
No, I can only breaststroke. I won the race. I
Even
was
with
so
the cheating?
effing tired.
Yeah.
afterwards. I almost had
Oh,
to
you're
go up and have
gassed?
it. Like
Really?
I actually think I'm still it's not gravelly because I was drinking. It's gravelly voice because I was.
I was gonna say all that shit that's been sitting in the bottom of your lungs
Yes.
gets all. Yeah.
Got
I'm
the
glad
thick
you
spit
won.
going.
Still undefeated.
Sound like a bunch of controversial disqualifications, but congrats. Yeah.
Hard to believe
The
Kuntz would
least
be that kind of
surprising
guy.
thing for me to see him cheat.
Yeah. Never crossed your mind to.
I knew I could do it. I'm a
Yeah.
swimmer.
You are. Yeah.
He's undefeated.
Undefeated.
You are
Still.
undefeated. I'm happy that. Now, when the cramp hits, is there a noise that you make or?
It was a quick reversal onto the back.
Yeah.
And deep breaths.
Breathe it out, Brett.
I feel like this would be one of those things that, and there's many, whether you're at the gym or doing something, I probably look okay. I probably look good right now. And then if you were to ever catch a quick glance of your, like, oh, I can see myself in the reflection of that window. Oh my
Ooh.
God.
God.
This is not to say that it wasn't an elegant and majestic event watching you do the breaststroke around Lake Bonavista, but I do wonder if it was a great spectator sport to watch you two
I believe
dummies.
it would have been a good spectator sport if you were a couple houses down from the Bonds, because then there was 8 fat fuckers
Yeah.
that got into a Zodiac and were cruising around the lake, and it was like, well, look at this crew,
Yeah.
like barely above the water.
Oh, Canada.
What a time to
country.
be alive.
What a country. Love it. Yes. You don't see a lot of out of shape swimmers. That's the thing. It's almost like cardio and being in incredible
Yeah.
shape. is-
Well, like the water was still crisp.
yeah, it would
So you
be.
really don't know how hard you work, and
Yeah.
you're not sweating it out until
Yeah.
afterwards. No bueno. Could not recover, Jack. It was like having that
Couldn't make
5th
it.
hot dog. It was just
Yeah,
that.
hit the
okay,
wall.
we're done, tap it out.
Yeah, it's too much to ask. I mean, obviously we can react to Dregs. Keandre Miller, Flames are in
Would
on.
have looked good.
Look, young left shot D, they're going to be all over. They're loaded on the right side with prospects. We'll see how many of them make it. Uyghur's a righty, Andersson's a righty, Pahal's a righty, Parek's a righty,
Yeah.
Brestevich is a righty, Muse is a righty. Not all these guys are going to be players, but safe to say you don't need to collect young right shots. The only guys they haven't left are Ball, who they just extended, and Jake Bean, who I think is probably playing his last year as a Flame.
Yeah.
And like what? You got a Solovyov. Okay, maybe he could be a 6-7. But anytime you can find a mid-20s heading into their prime left shot D, expect the Flames to be on it.
Does
What
that
they have to give up?
Well, I think it was a first and a second from Carolina.
We're okay if that would.
I would with Carolina's first and second. Yeah. The Flames first and second are going to be quite a bit higher. And you got the McKenna DuPont drafts coming up, right?
Yeah.
You can build a case. You bring him in, your pick will be higher. Like, not as sexy, but Connor Miller's an interesting one because he's a very highly touted young player, a lot of great tools, had a really tough year last year, but also was on a team that was a disaster. And the same things can be said for Bowen Byram. Like, these are really, really toolsy, great young prospects that have shown they can succeed at the NHL level, but were in awful, awful situations last year.
Yeah, I'm always curious. So if you're are you still in the market for 25, 26-year-old players, or are you get more picks and strip it down? I don't know, because when I hear but it's probably what they'll end up doing. But what's the right thing to do? What's the smart thing to do?
Well, and then that's the great dilemma that they're in, because you can look and say, if you got a top 10 goalie in the league, like, sure, get as many picks as you want, liquidate when you want, but like they might think they're good. And then the flip side is, God, they're not even close. They don't have stars, but they need a bold direction. Like, Connie can't let this play out in front of him and he just follows whichever way the current goes. He has to chart a course here. And all he's doing right now is saying, if you're a year away from UFA, we're not losing you for nothing. Until then, I'm not picking the fade. But a move like that would chart a direction.
Yeah, like in terms of, even if it's next year's first round pick, how are you spending it? Draft night? Or to get a 20, or part of a package to get a 25.
Not be spending next year's first round.
It's McKenna. Like, the Islanders did not think they'd be picking first. They had a better roster than the Flames did in theory.
That's kind of where I fall in. I think Bowen Byram's a good player. I think Andre Miller's. These are very intriguing guys. You'd love to have them. What first? It's going to take the first rounder to get that guy. Is that how you want to spend that?
So maybe what you would do in this instance is you say Vegas's first is on the table. And we've collected these other seconds from selling off guys, but our first we have to protect. And that would have been maybe a nice middle ground.
We're going to take a quick break.
I got to get out of the way, it looks like.
We got a guest coming in.
Someone less hungover than you the day after Canada.
We don't know that.
We don't know that.
You can't speak to that.
Dark over there.
It's a guess, but that's all it is.
It's a very safe bet. I like my chance of being right.
You know what? Our next guest probably didn't get into a swimming race around Bonavista, around the island yesterday. I'll go that far.
And I don't want to race
because
he looks
like he's in very good shape.
Yeah, he's still very tired.
Stay there. 2 minutes. We'll be right back. welcome back. Pleased to be joined by El Presidente of the Calgary Stampeders. It's not very well. Trying to think of a Western tie-in. I guess that's not really. Jay McNeil joins us here in studio. Good to see you.
Is he the sheriff? Is that
The sheriff?
He's
Ooh,
the sheriff?
Yeah, it keeps
Not
getting
bad.
better here. I
Not
like
bad.
Next week, maybe that works. Eh?
It, right? If we win, maybe the sheriff.
Okay.
We're excited to have you. It's what you brought with you. No, you know
Yeah,
how it is, right?
that's fair.
We know what it's like.
Yep.
The Stampede Bowl, the inaugural Stampede Bowl, is coming up at McMahon Stadium, and there is to the victor go. So if those other guys win, they're taking that home with them. Is this true?
We're not letting this thing leave Calgary.
No, I can't leave Calgary. That's right. Yeah. It is the Stampede Bowl. That's the trophy. You don't get that on Amazon. I don't think they have those. I mean, that's a big undertaking to get a trophy built. How long did it take to design it? And we'll get into the idea of the game in general, but trophy looks awesome.
Yeah, they did a great job. The company that made it was MTS Bronze, the same company who made the Four Nations Cup trophy.
Gotcha.
Nice.
And so when we reached out to them and asked them if they wanted to be a part of this, they were all over it. And between our creative team and theirs, they just came up with a beauty, and they did a great job.
Yeah, I know. I was just kind of reading when it came out. So the players were like, "You got to see this thing." It's one thing to see it in pictures, but to see it like you would imagine, it is very cool.
One of the things that on the pictures, it looked like it was the horse head, but here you can see it's just the one angle. It's actually kind of looks like a torch, and then the ears pop out. I'm quite impressed because I've seen the social stuff, but and apparently like what, 40 pounds?
They say it's 40. I think, it feels like it's 50 or 60.
Okay.
Like it's heavy. So
That's how long
I don't
you've been
know
carrying
if anybody's going to be drinking out of it. It's that heavy.
Really?
So,
Okay.
well,
Well, that's a
you'd be
challenge.
surprised.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, you'd be surprised.
Good problem to have if we're doing that.
Yeah. When you took the job, I remember you were kind of talking about, look, we can talk about the stadium, we can continue to bitch and complain about that, or we can take the hand we're given and let's make the best of it.
Yep.
And you had talked about innovation, and let's engage fans, and let's try and do, it's such a cliche, out of the box. Let's try some stuff. And this to me feels like one of those things for sure. For a lot of you can't compete with Stampede. You don't want to. Well, there's a lot of people around. Let's make it a thing, and then it becomes a thing. How long has the Stampede Bowl been the genesis, I guess? When did you guys start to feel like, we're doing this?
Well, I think the first conversation happened a couple of years ago. We never hosted a game over Stampede. Is this something we could do? Would we want to do it?
Yeah.
Would the Stampede allow us to, partner with us on that? And it just kind of didn't go anywhere. And then, a year ago, so, we would either have a bye week or we'd go on the road. And then we'd host a game the weekend after Stampede. And we know how this city is the weekend after Stampede. People are out of town, they've spent all their money, and they're tired.
Yes.
And it's hard to get people to come to a game and say, well, okay, we got to do something different here. And that's sort of the genesis of it. And then we approached the Stampede, and they were on board from day one. And then the organization got right behind it, and our ownership, great commitments from them to invest in this game. And then it's just it's taken off from there. And here we are, we're on the eve of the Stampede Bowl.
Will this be a Calgary versus Winnipeg annual thing, or is the opponent kind of
we like
important?
We like Calgary versus Winnipeg. I mean, they've represented the West the last 5 years in the Grey Cup. So, as we all said, we want to be the best. You got to beat the best.
That's right.
And so we wanted them this year, and they accepted that challenge. We'll see where we go next year.
Is it a multi-year commitment or just this year? Because I'd heard that it might be the Bombers for a bit, but you do have the Riders are a special thing. Battle of Alberta, you got Labor Day. It would be nice to lock something into Winnipeg where it's like, I know what time of year that game is. Like, it's one of those rivalry ones. I know it.
That's exactly what we're trying to create. We've got two big games in Labor Day in Saskatchewan.
Yeah.
And so how do we create a third one?
Yeah.
And then we want, so everybody knows, plan your calendar around the Stampede Bowl, and you'll be here. So, there's a good chance we'll see Winnipeg again next year, but we are flexible on it.
We had Dave Dickinson on, and we asked him before. So Brett Michaels, is that your pick? Who, because it'd be one of my picks.
Yeah.
We had a little,
You were very
we
excited
had some
about that.
poison playing before the show started today in here, oddly enough. What about Brett Michaels, the halftime, and just everything else? Obviously, it's going to be Bombers versus Stampeders, and the trophy's on the line. But what else will people expect when they go to this game tomorrow?
Yeah, it's good. Like, we've got so much happening, like in the pregame, halftime, and then postgame as well. So, the TSN panel is coming and broadcasting live from the game. They'll be in the Coors Lake Corral.
Yeah.
So that should be a lot of fun. They'll have their backs to the field. Dawson Gray is going to play in the pregame. We've got the Stampede Show Band's going to do some.
I saw them yesterday.
Yeah.
They're in the Banff Canada Parade. They hauled ass. They're
Yeah.
really fun.
It's a
They
big time
are
of year
good.
for those guys.
Oh,
It's
man,
a
they're
big time of
busy.
year. Yeah.
We were like, I was really surprised that, given the parade coming the next day, would they be able to do it? And they were on board.
Yeah.
At the moment we asked, and then obviously Brett Michaels at halftime, and so I would love to take credit for that one. That's our COO, Lorenzo DeSico. He was the one talked about nothing but a good time, and I was on board from the moment he said it. And I got to tell you, we just released a video that Brett's, helping to promote it, but he's been tremendous. We talked to him about 2 months ago, Lorenzo and I on the phone, and he was, guys, I know what you want to do. I will blow the doors off of Calgary for you.
I love it.
So we're excited about it. Yeah.
There's something about it that just feels right.
Yep.
It's not Canadian. It just feels like this is the kind of thing. Let's go guns blazing, right?
Well, here's what his wife's Canadian.
Oh, is that
his wife's from Cranbrook, BC?
Yeah,
so he's honorary.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about the weekend after Stampede trying to sell tickets. This is the kickoff now.
Right.
Like, this is what I love this idea. It's like, okay, well, the ride's open on the Thursday. There's the Stamps game. Well, then first Friday, there's all these things. Then you got to I think it's going to be great, and I can't wait. It sounds like the crowd's going pretty darn well.
Yeah, we're pretty excited. Like, it's everybody's responding. We're literally selling tickets as we speak. It's, we're watching. Yesterday we had a Canada Day sale. Today, it's continuing on.
Okay,
so it's going to be a fun day.
Is the ticket ticket sale continues till midnight tonight? Is that, or was that last night?
That was last night.
Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough.
Yeah, it was just a 24
So the thing
hours.
about social media, it's like, well, when was this
When was
posted?
this
One
posted?
time, and I'm
Exactly.
stupid and I don't know anyway. But
Yep.
I mean, it's truly one of those things where if you haven't been to a Stampeder game, and we got it, summers are busy and it's all that. If you haven't been in a while, you guys have done a lot to revamp and change the in-game experience. Oh, you could buy tickets. Oh, at halftime on the field. Or this, you guys are really working at the fan experience to make it something different, something special, that if you haven't gone, you need to go again and see Stampeder football.
Yeah, I am incredibly proud of our game presentation team. They do a spectacular job of providing an end-to-end experience for our fans, and something that you can't get on TV. Tomorrow will be on steroids, so it's going to be a good day.
Yeah, I love it.
We're going to be there documenting it. So we got producer Jack, as well as Robert Munich, Bobby Germany, we call him, who writes for the website. Myself, Amal Delich is coming out from our headquarters in Toronto to join us, and Rhett is going to tell us tomorrow whether he's coming or not, because that's about as much.
Let you know at
notice as we
halftime.
get. At halftime, he'll let you know for football.
Yeah.
I would offer up to arm wrestle him on that one, but I don't know.
Well, then he is coming.
He's got long arms, but you're in
bad shoulders.
Yeah.
I'm in Jay's camp on that one.
You're in a unique spot because of how many years. I mean, are you still a player first? Because we had Rhett sitting here, we're talking about trade deadline or whatever, and the players are dictating this and the teams, and he's kind of swayed more to the team side. So these players are you a player still? Or or an executive? Because sales, business, that aspect, because it's.
Well, I think, in my mind, I'm still a player.
Yeah.
But the reality is I'm old. And so you ask any of the guys in the locker room, that old guy, not a chance.
Yeah.
So, which I can live with. I know my lane now.
But in the spot you're in, I think you would be able to appreciate, we want to try this. Well, you need the players' engagement. And there's one thing for the players to say, it's on the contract and it's something we have to do. And then there's other stuff like the Huffburgers and stuff like that. You will know what will resonate with players and what guys are going to really be invested in doing outside of the actual football. And I don't know how many teams can say that they've got a guy with your kind of player pedigree running the place. And that has to be a benefit. Do you think that there is just your experience, 14 years as a player, bringing that forward?
I think it certainly helps. And I'm very mindful of the requests we make to our players too, as well. We don't want to put them in a bad position that's going to, compromise a game, let's say, so we've never asked them to do something that as a player, I wouldn't have been willing to do.
Yeah.
So I think that helps. The fact of the matter is we've got some great personalities on our team that care about winning, that care about this organization and our community. And so they're willing to do things that are amazing. And I feel very lucky to be a part of that.
Yeah. I'll tell you, when we talked to Dave, the horse head, the helmet, the history and that of the team is, it's almost unmatched. And then you go forward, the league is so proud of its rich history, and that is great. But I think there is that time, and I feel like you guys, you did it with your roster in terms of player personnel. We didn't make the playoffs. That's not acceptable. Talk's cheap. We're changing coaches, we're changing players, and with any luck, that makes a big dent this year. And then there's the other side. Let's do some things that are outside of the norm. And I do think talk is cheap sometimes. There's a new trophy sitting on the table. You're doing something you've never done before. The fan experience is different. I give you guys a lot of credit for putting some things out there to see if they work. And not all will. I mean, we started this thing. We can tell you about things that work or don't work. But I think it's awesome for a league that probably needs to be doing a little bit more of it. You guys are doing a lot of it. So well done.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah, the two words we've been using as an organization, like that doesn't matter on or off the field. It's bigger and bolder, right? What can we do differently? How can we do differently? And how can we engage our fans and our community differently? And the Stampede Bowl, that is just a testament to exactly that attitude.
And it's not going to rain.
And it's not.
I felt bad for you guys.
Man, it was bad last weekend.
It's one of the rainiest days I can ever remember seeing, and it was a Stampeder game day. And you only get a few of those, unfortunately.
Yeah, nine regular seasons a year, and you get one of the this is the worst downpour in 72 years. Great. Yeah.
But if you make up for it tomorrow, then all is maybe forgiven.
That might be the worst weather game I've ever been a part of. You think about snow, blizzards, all those sorts of things. That was as gross as it gets. And so, the forecast for tomorrow is going to be fantastic. And it's, we've moved past that one, and here we go. Stampede Bowl.
Ticketmaster.
Yep. Yeah. Or stampeders.com.
Stampeders.com.
7 p.m. kickoff, lots of tailgating opportunities, and obviously the pregame, the postgame. Sounds like a full night.
It's going to be a good night.
Pace yourself, Ryan. Just try and pace yourself. Well done. Congrats. Love seeing it all. Best of luck tomorrow.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, and you can't let that thing leave 10.
Yeah,
one way or the other. That's got to stay. Quick break here. 2 minutes. We'll be right back. There you go. Stampede Bowl coming up tomorrow. Ticketmaster, stampeders.com. Bombers in town. Oh, sorry.
Watch yourself.
They are going to sell a lot of beer. Yeah, to you, but I
have
think
no
maybe
comments.
in
I have
general.
no comments.
Yeah.
I hope it's a great crowd and a great game, and may the
Do we
best
worry?
Stampeders team win.
Do we worry?
I'm done. You can't.
It does represent
I
kind
know.
of what we're.
Yeah, I know.
I'll be on best behavior tomorrow. Don't you worry about it.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean your best behavior is still some people's worst.
Yeah,
That's
it's
true.
Like I've had 6 beer behavior. Best behavior is non-applicable to the regular human. What? I only did 12 high kicks in the suite with
Let's
the
get
owner.
the crowd into
I
it.
was just getting people excited. Oh, fair enough. Yeah,
It's
fair enough.
entertainment.
No, I mean, good things for them. Hopefully, you get some people that maybe haven't been in a long time, or
You're in
maybe
town for
never-
Stampede?
maybe
Yeah.
have never been. It's the event. The football is going to hold up its end of the bargain.
Yeah.
Everything else can come through, and then you get some people coming back again.
How many license plates do you see from like all over the US and Canada in the next 2 weeks? It's wild. Like everywhere you go, you're like, oh my God, like there's just tourists everywhere. There's gonna be a lot of people going to their first CFL game tomorrow night.
Probably,
That's pretty
yeah.
cool.
For sure. So again,
Best behavior.
don't ruin anyone's night.
Remember, like I've said before, like Hashik would have to go out sometimes to let
Yeah,
out
like
loss.
Dennis Rodman.
and then someone would have to kind of be the sidekick. And
Yeah.
attend to them.
Mhm.
Hey, Jack, don't let your idiot hat get put on your
Yeah.
You can be the mature one here.
Robert's in charge. I'm
Bob,
Bobby
Oh,
German.
this is good.
God.
Accountability. That's what we love around here. No one's passing the buck. Everyone takes hold of the reins and owns it themselves. That's what we need. Speaking of beers, Origin.
Oh, good Origin weather right now.
It is very good Origin weather. And I know we kind of talk about their beers and that because we're very fond of the Barn Burner Blonde and the Afterburner Pale Ale, and they've got all that. They have, and I'm just throwing it out there, they've got the hard seltzers that they've put out. The cherry key lime, the tropical mango, and the watermelon. Maybe just throw a quick dozen of those in with your beer order if you're grabbing some.
There's probably room in the cooler.
Yeah, probably be some room there. Give them a whirl because they're hard iced tea. It's a showstopper.
Unbelievable.
Two of those
I
are-
didn't know they had the seltzers until the other day. I was like, what?
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
Just more reason to give a little love to Origin.
I just got a text from Mark, by the way. I think we're going to replenish said fridge just in time. For
Yeah,
the
weird how
just reaching out to clients, having
we may need to change the security code on the door. There's a few things that are going missing.
change the locks.
Yeah, maybe.
Mm.
They've got Origin Calgary. The tap room is open Wednesday to Thursdays from 11 a.m. till 8. Friday, Saturday, 11 till 10. Sundays, 1 to 7. You can buy your beers there. They've got the O-Dogs going there. You can get your brisket dog and the mac
Chili
and cheese
dog.
chili dog. That's 943 28th Street in the Northeast. And then, of course, in Strathmore, 60 Spruce Park Drive. They have been cruising there for a long time, and it continues. They got their big birthday bash coming up in less than a month now.
Oh, that's right. That's the Strathmore Gets Drunk for a Weekend Fest.
Something like that.
Yeah.
OriginBrewing.ca for all the details on all that stuff. Plus the
Deeper
merch.
says he's got them fully stocked.
Not a boy Deeper.
Attaboy Deeper.
Not a
It's in the chat.
Is he in the chat?
Yeah, see that?
Even after you disrespected his family.
All right.
Wasn't me.
I feel like it was maybe you. Return a guy's
They're
text.
working outside, eh?
Yeah, they're working outside.
Good for them.
Yeah.
Good job.
I've been pretending to work for a while. It's good to see something moving out there.
Get to
Had to
the
get escorted to the door.
yeah. There's a lot of people on that duty. Stand there, kind of standing around, and then you start walking. Yeah, I can figure it out. Stupid. One foot in front of the other, left foot, right foot. Just
Don't stand behind the
get out of the goddamn
excavator while it's back. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
something like that.
Just gonna walk right into that bucket on the front end loader, but I guess now I won't.
Pinder Report for Village Honda. The 5th annual Honda and Acura Show and Shine is coming up August 23rd. Awards for Best in Show, Best Modified, Best Classic, People's Choice. And you can get yourself registered online at villagehonda.com. Their demo inventory clear out is on. Maybe that's another thing. You come into town, go to Stampede Bowl, grab a passport or two.
That's what I'm going to do right now.
Yeah, do it right now. Ryan will do the Pinder Report, I guess, while you do that. So it's the Pinder Report. For Village Honda.
Boys, a lot going on in Flamesland. FlamesNation.ca rammed with wall-to-wall coverage. Bobby Germany, Ryan Pike and company.
The writers are
Gotcha.
right.
Writers are right. The writers are writing. 8 Flames thoughts on day one of free agency. That's Bobby Germany's piece that just went up at 8 this morning. Joel Hanley is back. Somebody we've never heard of that was playing in Germany has entered the organizational fold. And a Russian netminder that once was in the NHL is back with the Flames. More on FlamesNation.ca.
Nice.
There's the Hanley details, Rhett. A very reasonable $1.75 million for a guy who has had quite the spectrum of play, from being available on waivers to the Flames, where they selected him, to playing top pair with Mackenzie Weegar down the stretch on a team that lost a playoff spot by a tiebreak. Large range of outcomes.
I feel like he's well liked in the Bruins.
I think, yes, very much so.
He's a hell of a fellow, Dean.
They call him Nacho.
Does he likes nachos?
He might, but
I don't know why you would make that
We're
connection.
best of butts.
Seems weird.
are you familiar with the Nacho story?
No.
The coach is calling him Joe Hanley. He's like, it's not Joe. It's not Joe. He's like, okay, Nacho.
So he needs to be Joel.
Joel's his name.
Not
Joe.
Joel?
Not Joe. See what it says Joel Hanley on the article?
Yeah, I
You know
see
what?
that now.
I like that actually. It's better.
Okay, Rhett's in.
Handsy or something.
Yeah. Not Joe.
It's actually a rare good nickname in the NHL,
yes.
for being fair. The netminer we know less about. This is Ivan Prosvetov, who
they've been in on him for a long time. They've been really wanting him.
well, we heard the
Following
rumors,
along.
a month or two ago that they might be into bringing him back. We talked about it on this very program.
We did.
We did.
Was I here?
Not a lot.
No, it was an item like this that we
It was
mentioned.
probably
I
in
was
the
gonna say,
Pinder
yeah,
Report.
yes,
No one
but,
paid attention. So.
That's correct.
Ouch.
One of us didn't.
He's sitting right there.
Arizona and Colorado, the prior stops, and he has had a tidy outing against the Flames. Maybe they remember that. Maybe they think he's a toolsy young fella. But between him and Logan Cooley, you've got your number 2 and your number 3. One are you going to win the backup? One are you going to go start net for the Wranglers? Or you play so damn well in camp, we can't put you on waivers. We're going to trade you somewhere.
Hey,
Please do that.
feels like it's Wolf's job to lose too for the number 1, but don't tell Ivan that.
He's the highest paid goalie, right?
I'm looking forward to the battle. I love competition.
Yeah,
in camp.
good goalie controversy.
I think the Canucks are spending about like $13
Can they
million on
sign
goalies.
Wolf today? Like, why or what are we waiting for here?
Robert, can they sign him
Bob!
today?
They can sign him.
He says yes.
Well,
I would
do
think
that.
those negotiations are happening.
I don't.
He might be going to Bull Bustin or
Sure.
something.
Yeah.
It's
And
almost
if you're the agent, maybe you want to see what the Lucas Dostal contract looks like and a little more juice there. I don't know. I don't think the agent's in any rush. I think the Flames would be trying to get it done
That's
today.
fair.
Yeah.
fair.
As a fan,
Yeah.
Seems like an important piece, core part.
he's our Connor.
All due respect to Nick Cesek.
Right. CSEC coming home to work for CSEC,
Yeah.
who couldn't have seen it coming. Flames have added some championship pedigree to their organization in their development staff in the form of Cup winner Brent
Three-time
Seabrook.
Cup winner. Wow,
It was 10,
nice.
12, and 15. 12, 10, 13, and 15.
it was 3 times. And
It was 3
awesome.
times.
Siebes.
Sibs.
This would have been a bigger headline if it was 10, 12 years ago. Flames sign Brent
Yeah,
Seabrook.
Yeah, because I think he actually got signed to like an 8-year monster deal by the Hawks then. So
Yeah.
if he somehow got to the Flames, that would have been huge.
Yeah, it
news.
would have been huge.
huge.
Not to diminish the signing.
Michael Stone already in that department. So a couple D-men for the young fellas to learn from. And your Parex and Bristeviches and Muse of the world will be arriving, or if not already here.
Mhm.
Okay, next. So here's the radically different Flames, Rhett, after
Okay,
free
wait,
agency
let-
and the
just
draft.
Shush for
Do you
a
want my
second.
eyeglasses?
No, I might swap Coronado and Zeri, but those are your top 6 forwards.
But the personnel, yeah.
It's the same.
You want to read them through to us?
Johnny Huberto, Nas, and Sari still there. Okay, Coleman, Backlund, Coronado. That's good. We
Mhm.
wanted them back.
Yeah.
Farabee Frost and Sharon Govich.
Okay.
That's us. Yeah.
Fourth line.
Blomberg, Pospisil, and Klapka.
Radical change. They're probably going to have to do some
Sweeping change.
bonding trip. I don't know, Dean, what you do. Do you take them to Banff? Is it you go to Canmore and play golf? Like, how do you get this group that's so unfamiliar?
Well, a bunch of softies
comfortable
probably
with
go to
each
the
other.
Spa at Kananaskis. And they should.
That's the team
Spot.
right there.
Well, that's the forward group, so they'll show you the D because I mean, after the signings of
Anderson's.
it's the same D. Now there will be a Zane Perek to squeeze in somewhere, but
God, I hope so. And I sound
they
like
have
an
to
ass, but I
get
really
something.
hope that he's in one of those spots right there.
yes, I would suggest you slide Uyghur to the left side, and one of Bean and Pahal comes out, and Perek slides into the top four.
Yeah, and it's, a guy's got to play. Don't want to send him back to junior. He can only kind of conceivably play here. So he's got that going for him.
Yeah.
Yes,
Mhm.
and you got a World Junior tournament if it's not going well here, whatever.
Sure.
Or just come up and dominate. Like
I
you
don't
look
think
pretty
he
good in
wants
game
to go to the
82.
World Juniors. I think he's quite content to give Team Canada the finger.
I think
Yeah,
probably
to him.
that's, yeah.
I think you'd love to toss the bird out to them and
I
say,
think
"Hey,
that would
oh,
be my appetite as
I got
well.
25 points at Christmas. You guys can screw your hat. I'm not going anywhere."
Yeah, I'm going to make
Wasn't good
my
enough for you though.
NHL money. Good luck. And
Did you notice Michael Misa, the number 2 overall pick, also wasn't good enough for
Wait, what?
yeah, he couldn't go.
Dave
Wow,
Cameron?
you know what? It's not their fault. They should have done 2 teams.
I didn't think that was necessary.
Yeah,
I
they
thought
needed
that was
2
I thought
teams,
that was
yeah.
hurtful.
We're being cheeky about the
Was
rosters.
Seabrook part of that?
Pardon me?
Was Seabrook cool?
He was been part of their management team for some
Yeah,
events.
I
I
thought
think
he
maybe
was
4
doing it.
Nations.
Not
He's
a-
learning
just-
the ropes.
Yeah.
Just because it kind of.
But if there was some big name added to that list, you showed the forwards and the D, and yeah, they're the same.
Uh-huh.
You want them to be the same right now, don't you?
No,
Not
I
because
would
you think it's
prefer
your
that
best
there
chance
was-
to win. It's, well, don't go being harsh and rash with a bunch of signings or
Yeah, I mean, if they'd moved Rasmus out, they'd be okay with that. If they'd,
fair.
but yeah, look, not surprising that it's generally
It's such
sit back and wait. No one thought they were signing Mitch Marner. Sorry, guys. In net,
some
they
of
will
those
have
other guys.
Prosvetov and
Yeah, I had gone. It had been a lot of days before I would have forecast the Nick Cesek signing.
What
Manitoba boy.
That's right. Yeah, is he?
Yeah.
You just said that's right. Yeah, so I assume that.
Yeah, him and Prosvetov from
He's not from Manitoba.
Lac de Bonnie,
Provorov?
not from Lac de Bonnie.
Also,
Suris.
Prosvetov.
Back to you, Ryan.
Thanks, Dean.
I thought you said we were getting Provorov.
No, that's a defenseman.
Orlov.
Orlov.
Nope, Orlov's still available. We'll get to the best available players in a moment. First, here there was a lot of money spent on guys that you might have heard of that are, well, they're at least okay. This is total dollars earned is the sort from the top to bottom. Vladislav Gavrikov goes coast to coast from LA to New York. He's a very good defenseman. He's a 2-3. He's making $49 million over 7 years. Mikael Granlund got paid. The Ducks have $1 trillion in cap space. He'll make $7 million a year. It's 33.
I think that's a piss poor signing.
$7 million?
And he'll make them better on
I
the
just
ice.
think
And
that they're so young. I don't want a veteran guy. Let the kids. They're coming. They're going in the right direction.
they
Anyway,
are going in the right direction.
They've been bringing in old dudes though.
Yeah, they brought in on the back end Trouba, obviously Kreider up front.
Yeah.
They want to win right now, and they were probably hoping to get a Marner or an Ehlers, but Granlund will have to do because they probably got nose everywhere else.
It's a nice place to play.
Ryan Lindgren was just okay last year. He'll get $18 million from Seattle. Cody Ceci was not good last year. He'll get $18 million from LA. Ken Holland can't quit this guy. Tanner Jeannot, who had one good year once, is getting $17 million over 5 years. Connor Brown leaves his old pal Connor McDavid and heads to New Jersey on a 3x4. Brian Dumoulin, not a great year, 33, almost 34. He got 3 years and $4 million from Kenny Holland.
Okay.
Nate Schmidt, 3.5 times 3. He leaves the Florida Panthers to go to the Mammut. Mammut. Jonathan Duran, an interesting signing, 2 times 4 to go to the Island. Brandon Tanev, he also goes to the Mammut.
is Dumoulin better than Schmidt?
Not this past year, but a year ago you might have said so. I think Lefebvre did a great job with Schmidt in Florida.
Well, he does a great job with everyone.
Yeah, and so I would suggest Cody Ceci and Brian Dumoulin are best serves as
Like
5,
out of
6,
the,
7.
just because we were poking fun at the Kings, CC and Dumoulin and Schmidt. Let's say, who's the best player out of all? Like, is it CC? Because he's getting the most money and term.
I don't like those options. No.
No, but you have to choose one. Who's your guy, Dean?
Schmidt's last year was good with Florida.
Schneid's nice guy, that Nate Schmidt. Everybody loves him. He's
Yeah.
very popular, you know.
Always smiling, eh? Laughing.
So if he fires a pizza up the middle and it ends up in your net, you're probably going to be, Schmitty, you silly goose. Don't do that again, but I love you.
But if you're upset at Craig Conroy not spending money, just ask yourself, like, which of these deals would you actually want or even help the Flames get better?
Well,
like,
who
it's
do they-
Gavrikov at the top. That's about it. And he wasn't coming to Calgary.
Who do they bump out of your lineup? Because you just showed it.
You showed that
so
lineup.
much
I
depth.
mean, geez, there's so many.
What are we going to do?
I don't see any top 2 centers here either. That's probably another interesting.
Again,
Observation.
tongue in cheek, but if I'm a Flames fan, there's nothing here that I sit and say, man,
Missed out.
missed out there.
Yeah, but that was the whole league, right? Like, I
Kind
know
of.
all these guys feel like pieces that need to be. They're not centerpieces. They're additions to squads that feel like they have
Yes.
holes.
Filling out rosters.
There's more signings. We'll quickly glance at them. Mangiapane gets 3.6 times 2 from Edmonton. Bob Stauffer, who's employed by the Oilers, quickly pointed out the season he had 3 years ago when he scored 33 goals,
Real
not the 2 can't get to 15 seasons that he's posted back to back. Curious to see what it'll look like. He will get looks in the top 6.
If he plays with Draisaitl,
Yeah,
then all bets are off.
correct. And that's what they tried to do with Arvidsson and Skinner. They've both been not brought back. We'll see if it works.
More miles on both those guys. I'm not saying that it's
I'm
going to
okay
work.
with the signing. I actually think it works out.
I do too.
And nothing to do with Mangiapane other than
Opportunity,
he's capable
right?
of getting there.
Yeah.
He's going to
Yeah.
have great
And
opportunity.
if he doesn't do it, then there'll be other guys that'll get a shot there. But it's a bet that he can get back to being a 20-plus goal guy. And if you play next to Draisaitl, I like your chances of that.
Yeah.
If you're on the 4th line in Edmonton, I don't like your chances of that. Faxa stays in Dallas. Nick Perbix.
He goes to Dallas. He was drafted by them originally.
Thank
he
you.
was a blue, I believe.
Thank you. Nick Perbix goes from Tampa to Nashville.
Oh,
Christian
Nick.
Dvorak, huge money on a 1-year deal. The Flyers have no centerman. They're hoping Dvorak can get back to his I look like a number 2 center ways. It's a 1-year bet, so if it doesn't work, no worries. Armia to the Kings. Anton Forsberg, the backup in Ottawa last year, to the Kings. Nico Sturm leaves Florida to go to Minnesota. Adam Gaudette and John Klimberg to the Sharks. Klimberg turns the mid-season league minimum, pull him off the scrap heap in a decent postseason into $4 million just a few months later.
Probably a decent for both sides too. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously decent for Klingberg, maybe $4 million.
Hell yeah.
But what the hell, the Sharks?
Well, like Dreg said, we got to get to the floor. Well,
Yeah, and look, put him on your 3rd pair, let him move the puck, shelter him. Sure.
Klingberg's made some good money here the last little bit to either not play or to be below
I
average.
still
Yeah.
don't know if he's made enough to cover off what
yes.
he effed up, but
yeah.
Yeah, the extension that he said, no, I want the Haskinen one and didn't
Yeah.
accept that money has been met. He was 1 year at 6 in Anaheim, 1 year at times 4 in Toronto, but call it $1 million last year in
I
Edmonton.
don't
Now
feel
another
bad
4.
for anyone.
4 more.
There's a lot of money out there.
Still another
but like
20
that
he's
Perbix
out.
guy, you said it. I've never heard the guy's name. 2.75. Let's go.
Decent season in Tampa, but not
Yeah.
a top 4, I don't think.
Top 4. If you're getting to top 4, put 2.75.
No, he's not a top
Conroy
4.
effed up.
No, that is fair. We'll move. Always good to see the greats, and just a reminder of what excellence looks like.
Is this my swim video?
Close. That's Ovi playing beach volleyball. Jack, we
That
full
looked
screen
like my
this.
competition.
He could have fit right in. Yeah, he would be grayer and bigger than some
This
participants.
is not a cheat.
Those shorts are having a hard time.
He's hanging on for dear life.
They are distressed.
What the hell are you?
I'm just like, look, that's me.
He's the greatest. He's the GOAT. Oh,
Oh.
jeez, yeah.
Okay.
And
Did we ask?
why does the beanpole have to stand next to him? Come on, that's just
Yeah,
not fair.
that's-
That's not nice.
AI, eh?
Yeah.
AI.
Thanks, Jack, for the AI. As for the best available free agents, wanted to just quickly run through some names. Nick Ehlers has not been signed. We talked
Pick 'em
about that
up.
with Dreger.
Go get him.
Other names, Pius Suter was a middle 6 centerman for the Vancouver last year. He's the top center available. Dmitry Orlov, we mentioned, left shot hulking defenseman. Jack Roslovic, who's been hot and cold in this league with the Rangers, Blue Jackets, and elsewhere.
So would you think that Orlov's not interested in coming here? Is that why we haven't signed him?
I would suggest that's fair.
Okay,
Or he
what?
just wants too much. Yeah.
Like we talked about it, not to get too bogged down in it. If you're someone that wants to come and say, if you're left shot, I'm going to get a lot of minutes.
Yeah.
There's a real opportunity. I might play with Uyghur. Or I might be,
Yeah.
who knows who I'm going to play with. Chance to maybe either re-up my stock or build get paid for a year. I did think we'd see something like that.
And you still might. That's fine. You could bump Jake Bean down the depth chart. That's fine.
Yeah, but I mean, just a lot of the guys are gone now.
I still
Those 2.4, 2.7. I thought there'd be one of those guys.
you did as close as you were. You had a really good year last year, and you're rolling back the same lineup. Why are you better? And what's going to make you think like?
Oh yeah,
Andersson is a distraction. You're going to need someone.
Yeah.
If you think you're going to win with this team, and it kind of looks like they're just going to go with it and see what happens, fine. You don't have enough D or enough quality defense.
it's a conversation for maybe tomorrow or another day.
Are we back here
But
tomorrow?
Yeah, tomorrow's
Yeah. But I do.
Stampede Bowl.
It's
Is that not a
summer.
holiday?
I know it's summer. We're very close, Red.
Very so close.
I thought because you guys worked Monday.
Yes.
You were keen to work Monday and then immediately booked yourself with an event Monday, and I came in.
If we'd like to go back and revisit this,
Oh,
we
see.
can do it now. But
No, we don't.
We don't need to. Let's keep moving. Brent Burns is available. He's 40.
Yeah.
Victor Olofsson's been a guy that has scored in this league, but is not a well-rounded player, safe to say. He's had spells in Buffalo and Vegas, I want to say.
If you want goals,
you're just
the guy can score.
They don't need wingers here.
It's a
Anthony Beauvillier is
defenseman.
available. Matt Grzelcyk, Boston Bruin, third pair.
These are men who have names.
Yeah, and you know what? They aren't necessarily any of them fits with the Flames so much as there are still a few guys that aren't signed left, but there aren't many you've heard of. That
and
list
then,
is
like,
9 long.
I don't know how long that'll take to get some of
Today.
these guys signed, but you said Bass, it's like if you don't go off the board early, they'll
Yeah.
put the squeeze to you in August. You're on a job, we got a spot, maybe, but you're gonna
Yeah, you're in PTO land if you're not signed by the end of the week. That's typically how this goes.
Yeah, I'm not racing to get Grzelcyk under contract by lunchtime today.
no.
It's like,
No.
might be a deal there.
Curtis Lazar has just signed a 1-year deal in Edmonton, close to league min. They've got a lot of scrappy fourth line guys, but some of them are going to get to play with really good players.
It feels like in my brain, I'm like Bowman's done a good job, but I still don't know how they're better.
Well, they've subtracted Perry,
Drake
Brown, Kane, and Klimberg, and they've
but
added
there were
Mangiapane.
times during the year we would have said those guys are horse shit and they shouldn't have them on the team anyway. So
Agreed.
they had
They're
great
being-
playoffs. Perry did, but
Traded Arvidsson, so he's out.
Arvidsson as well.
They
It's
lose.
tough to say you're better today. I'll say
Yeah,
that.
they
They do have
lose
4 million
Gully
bucks
off the
cap.
bench,
Yeah.
which may or may not be anything.
Klimberg from the back end. I haven't changed their goaltending. They swore they were going
but
to.
to me, that's the thing.
Matt Tompkins is not
And-
an NHL option. Sorry.
And in fairness to them, there was no one yesterday that they were going to sign that was going to make you sleep a lot better at night if you were an Oiler fan.
I would
It's going to
have
have
Jake
to be.
Allen, but he wanted to stay in Jersey.
Yeah, but I think it's negligible. If they want to make a serious change to their net, it's going to be by way of trade. I don't know what that looks like, but
yeah, but who?
Don't have a lot of assets.
Forsberg or
Forsberg just signed. We
or whoever was signed. Like I say, there's no goalie out there that I'd be thinking, damn it, if I'm an Oiler fan.
The Oiler fans are holding on to hope that Carter Hart passes a few hurdles and that
Right.
he'd be available, but he hasn't played much in the last 2 years, like 20-some games. So it's not the change that I think many felt was going to be happen by now.
Right.
We'll keep moving. Paul Skeen's good at baseball. This is Jack's boy. I
Guy can't win.
think he actually got a win yesterday. Isn't that all right, Jack?
Yeah, he finally got a win.
So here's the thing. Pirates on a heater. Guess how much run support Paul Skeens gets? Like they're just flying right now.
1.
1 run.
They
1-0
scored
win.
37 runs in the games of 4. Yesterday he pitches. They win 1-0. They've won
That-
5 in a row.
That's how you have an ERA of 2 with 4 wins and 18 starts.
I want winners, Dean. That's what I want on my team.
Whew.
He hates Pittsburgh.
He's like, honestly, I want to bring back pitchers hitting because I can't be worse than these assholes. Like, I'll go in the 9 hole and help myself win a game.
He doesn't hate anything. He's laughing at
He's-
Pittsburgh. Going, you guys are idiots.
We talk
I'm
about
so out of here.
Bobby Bonilla, the famous July 1 check. He loves Canada Day more
Yes.
than July 4th because he gets that $1 million from the Mets. I got one better for you. The Nationals paid Max Scherzer $15 million to pitch for someone else yesterday.
I don't know how you can.
I understand why you're smiling, Max. I get it, bud. And he does have 2 eyeballs of
Gonna
different
say,
colors.
what-
Yeah, he's
wait
not-
a minute.
he's one of those huskies.
What does he?
You didn't know that?
I couldn't tell.
Is that
Take your
AI?
shades
Is that
on, take
real?
your shades
No,
off.
that's right. He has different colored eyeballs.
Really?
He's one of the greatest pitchers of all time. He's making $70 million from 4 teams this year, and he has 2 different colored eyeballs. Only guy in the world that can ever say all those things.
I assume that's correct.
I'm
AI.
Let's keep moving.
Not one to say.
Stampeders. We just chatted with Jay McNeil, the Prez, and he mentioned Brett Michaels all in on this. I'm fired up for watching some CFL football, bringing some poison mega hits to Calgary for the Stampeders. Stampede Bowl halftime show Thursday, July 3rd. That's tomorrow. You don't believe him? Well, here he is.
Every rose has its thorn.
Just like every night has its dawn.
Just like every cowboy sings his sad, sad song.
Every rose has its thorn.
Are you serious?
Oh, my Stampeders. Wow. It looks like you are ready to rock. Sing along. We're going to have nothing but a good time. I'll see you tomorrow at the stadium. McMahon, it is going to be so awesome. Stampeders, you rock my world.
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
They're pulling out all the stops.
That was
Jay
good.
said it. They're pulling out all the stops.
That is very
Everyone
good.
is
Jay
in.
got me. The first one, I'm like, okay.
Pouring the
what's-
coffee.
There's been, there's been some stuff. Their social media crew, they're doing a hell of a
cranking
job
it up.
this year.
Yes.
There was one, I forget what the hell it was. I think it was Beggleton with the lemonade stand where he buys
Okay.
out the. It's very good. They're doing a great job.
the Stampede Eats from the exhibition there the other day. The boys trying. They had the Huff Burgers.
Love it.
Fellas are doing good work down there. We'll see you tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Oh, here are the odds too. Look at this. Bombers, heavy favorites.
Got them right where you want them, Dave.
3.5's the line. Total of 51. All right. Might see those in our Bet365 bets of the day tomorrow.
Nice.
We're working tomorrow.
You take as much time
Every
off as you want.
rose
You
has its thorn.
got a swim comp. I get it.
It's Thursday.
Yeah.
And so you are not coming because
Yeah, I don't
just people to pull out the curtain. I asked Red on Friday.
know. No,
Here's what they're doing.
about 2 weeks ago.
Well, that's true. And then I circled back on Friday. And then,
I answered you.
and then on Sunday, I still didn't answer. And I texted them again. And they said, yeah, I don't know. I was like, well, when are you going to know? I was like, Thursday.
Why wouldn't you come, Rhett?
I've got a lot of options in my life, Jack. I've also got a lot of people that rely on me for sustenance.
Sustenance. Jeez. What are you talking about?
As I'm taking
You just buckled boom. Just spat it everywhere. Sustenance.
Yes.
Go full screen.
As
on
I'm
boom.
taking a sip of coffee, hit me with sustenance.
So I'm trying to finagle a way to get both things accomplished. Jack.
Oh,
So
that would be a jangle. The sustenance
Plus,
and
it's-
the Stampede Ball.
If it was just you,
I'll
You
keep
and I,
distance.
Jack.
That's fine.
heard you were swimming in my lake yesterday, Jack.
Oh,
No, I wasn't.
Oh,
okay.
You know, I didn't get the invite.
it's
That's
an
why we
open-
were
we were
calling you.
calling you.
Open
I
invite.
had
When I
no-
lived on Madison, I never locked my door. I'm from a small town. The doors don't lock.
All right.
Hips don't lie.
Fuckers stole my dragon sandals. So
Oh, sandals. That sucks.
sorry about that.
Now it's so tough in the Pinder Report to figure out what's real and what's not.
Uh-huh.
Do you remember fighting Todd?
Warner.
Let's check it out here. Let's go to the tape here.
Passed up to the neutral zone. Tempers are flaring, and these two are ready to go. And Jim, it looks like we have a couple of willing combatants now.
This was 05, Rhett. Do you remember this tilt with Todd Bertuzzi?
Big Bert was a strong guy.
He's a hulking Phil. Oh, you lost your helmet. Retzer's looking sharp there.
You're not using your reach.
Oh,
Okay. Oh,
Oh.
Bert. Geez.
why would you show that?
Well, I don't know if it's AI or not. I'm just trying to.
What's the? Can't
And
have
now
it come
Jack's
out on
replaying it.
top?
Yeah, Jack's got the replay.
You know what? These guys are assholes.
Can we go to the
Yes.
whiteboard? Let's get the whiteboard out
I
here.
can't wait to go to the game with you tomorrow. It'll be so awesome.
Here we go. See, now let's break this thing down. So, what did he say to you? How did you know this thing was on?
Bert? Oh, he's been mad at me my whole career.
Who dropped the
I
first?
always
Sorry,
get Bert-
Jack. Is
I
there a
would
way
always get Bert on a face-off on the laces every time.
Yeah. See, look at this. Rhett's coming in to initiate.
No,
Good.
he was cheap.
Bit of
shot
the butt
making.
end there.
He's
They're
like, hey,
chatting.
you.
All right, let's go.
There's one thing I would never do is square off.
I know.
Everyone's loving this. It's a whiteboard. What, Rhett? Walk us through this. You lost your helmet. What are you doing?
It's fake, Ryan. I can't walk you through it. It's just pretend.
So, AI always gets me, man.
And that is my chin, if you do.
Very realistic.
Yeah.
Even back in 05. Is that what you're saying?
You're a Daredevil, Rhett. Wait, are you in or out on this one? This is a new. I hadn't seen this one before.
Sadine's cheering. Assholes.
Those guys didn't fight. So it looks like something sort of stampede ride with the.
This looks like a launcher.
I did not see that cliff though, and that.
Oh my goodness.
Oof. Oh yeah, of course the parachute just opened in time. You in?
No.
It's the 8 front flips off the catapult,
I was
and then
jumping off a bridge 14 feet yesterday. That's enough for me.
14 feels
What's
like a lot.
happening in your life right now?
Well,
You're too old for this shit.
No, this is great.
Don't you go dying on me.
These
now.
are feats of strength.
You gotta show the family that you're still brave.
You're the alpha.
Okay.
Because I gotta provide
Sustenance.
Right. Yeah.
that's the one.
Are they all aware how to dial 911? In the event?
I've said
Got the paddles?
DNR, DNR.
Do not
Hands off.
resuscitate.
Get away. It's been a good run.
You used to say in the old shop, if I ever go down, if any of you MFers try to save
Yeah,
me,
do
I'll-
not-
Yeah,
I
like
will
that was a
haunt
temptation by
you.
any of like.
I
thanks
know
for
you're going to want to do
stipulating.
some
It's
mouth to
time.
mouth.
It's
Get out of here.
Had a good run. The over's already paid. Finally, there's the Florida Man Games. You've heard of the Olympics. You've heard
Are
of
the
all kinds of
Panthers in
events.
this?
So here's what it is.
They win everything.
Yeah.
Any Floridian can sign up for the games. And one of the events is outrunning an actual police officer who they have in outfit and have placed obstacles in front of. Let's see how Florida Man does. So you got to steal something.
Yes.
That's the other Brett Michaels, I think. So, all right, you got all these different guys. You got to steal something. The cop chases you, and then you got all kinds of different hurdles, fences, tires. Cops are trying their hardest here to get you.
It's a
And-
chick.
yeah, the Florida man, Florida woman.
Gonna be choosy.
Anyway, it's just
that was
you know,
pretty limber. I didn't
Yeah.
think that guy was gonna.
good hops. It's a regional dialect. This sport, you don't find this elsewhere. The running from police.
Feels like the thieves are doing a lot of winning here.
This is
Yeah,
what
they're
I've
showing
been
the highlights.
telling you. You should be showing his sports and
This is
activities.
very good.
Yes.
Yeah, this is the
It's
content
the
we
Florida Man Olympics. Good stuff. There's got to be some
Like
sort of
high
jumping
step.
on the Gators back to cross the river event too.
Oh,
Oh, right at hip.
they got him.
Cop got him.
need. Cuff them.
Cuff him. Buck him.
Buck them, Dano.
Anyway,
What is that a catalytic converter
yeah, that's what they're stealing.
for the fucking? That's tremendous.
We have to do this.
That is
The Florida Man
tremendous.
Olympics. That's your Pinder Report on a Wednesday, fellas.
Well done. There it is. Village Honda. The demo inventory clear out is on savings of up to $4,000 on one of those just very gently used demos that they've got in the
Yeah.
lot. Do you like saving money?
I just text Nancy.
Yeah, you
Cool.
did.
See on vacation.
Northwest Auto Mall online at villagehonda.com. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Is it DJ Fatty today?
DJ Fatty.
Oh, I was bragging about that yesterday. I was saying to the crew we should go down.
Go to
Was
Greta?
that last
Yeah.
night? Yeah.
I think it was
Well, it was
yesterday.
Canada Day was
It was yesterday.
that was Hayden.
I thought they had the Monday Night Hayden, the
Monday was
Tuesday
Hayden.
DJ Fatty.
You're out
Is that
to
what it
lunch.
That's
Yeah.
what it was. Yeah.
Well, they got so much going on. It's hard to keep straight. They got the live Vegas cover band this weekend.
They're going to get a lot of. You're going to start to see the bales of hay and the hats and the boots and the denim coming in great regularity
Should we
right
dress
away.
up, Dean? You're a cowboy.
Oh yeah, I am.
Some Bronx.
I'm a real cowboy. That's me.
That's why you're leaving town.
That's next
That's why I
week.
left
Yeah.
town. Or something.
Yeah, shoot, we beat
DJ Fatty. He might be wrapping up his set right now. Who knows?
DJ Fatty.
Yeah. They're ripping it up down now.
They are ripping it up. Get to Greta.
Got a favorite game? What are you hitting first? Golden Tee? Go with some Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, Mario Kart.
It's a very good question. I'm not prepared to answer. You're not going to back me into that corner.
We got Buck Hunter. You like that one?
I'm
I
not
do.
going to wait in line. If it's backed up somewhere, I'm going to move
Got
on
lots
to the
of
next one because they're all good.
Yes, yeah.
Boop. Credits. Boop.
I like that NBA Jam Tournament edition.
Yeah.
He's on fire.
That's right. It's a banger.
That's right. I am. Good old Greta.
I was like Charlotte in that TV. Larry Johnson, Alonzo Mourning, Muggsy Bogues is like 5'0". He's buzzing around,
That's right.
launching threes.
Sorry, I didn't answer your phone call on Monday, Dean.
Yeah, I just want. We did
just
the
calling
same thing
people.
because it was Noodle's birthday, so
So
we
we
just called him and talked to him, and he's like you. He's going to get some heart thing. It was a big story. Anyway, he was.
Insurance. He's like, it's my 15th insurance policy, and some lazy nurse
Yeah.
said I got a bad ticket. I got to get this heart thing done.
So he needed to move to Thursday, and I'm like, well, we had already talked to Dreger because we're not doing Friday. He's going to go Thursdays. Oh, okay. So then I texted Dreger. Are you okay to move to Wednesday? He's like, yeah, actually, that's better for me.
Perfect.
I'm like, okay, but make it seem like you're doing a huge favor for Jamie, and it's a big inconvenience.
Work a steak out of this.
It's like, yeah, I'll do that. Oh, I guess I'll go to Wednesday because you can't do
I
it.
think that crew has some fun.
I think they do.
I love that story about the one time in their lives where they had ultimate leverage over their bosses and completely raked them over the coals. That makes me happy.
It happens very rarely, but it can happen.
Well, I'm about to do it.
Yeah, good.
See
That's
ya.
like the Rasmus Anderson. It's been a nice ride. That's what Rasmus is saying. I get one chance to pull the wool over these stupid
Screw
GM's
him.
eyes.
I'm mad at Rasmus Anderson.
You're so pro team right now. It's hilarious.
No, I'm not. I'm pro old school hockey because that's what people love and respect about it is when the playoffs started. Look at these fuckers battle and they'll go through the wall to do it, and then all of a sudden we can't have dress codes and we can't have this, and you ride on this bus because we're scared of this. Oh, what about the omelet and the egg white? Like, enough catering to these. And then if you question anything about it, I'll quit. I'm done. You can't talk to me during the year. What? What do you mean?
I think what
we
you're
can't
saying.
sign autographs because it's too. We do a autograph signing day, but not really to the kids. We're gonna get them all pre-signed and we'll hand it out as we. What? What are you talking about?
I agree with everything you're
This is
saying.
part of the shit that's required of you. My point, they're getting too soft.
I agree. I don't think Rasmus is one of them, though.
Bullshit. Why isn't he? Go to LA and prove up good you are.
What if he doesn't want to play in LA for the next
Don't.
9
It's
years?
1 year.
Well,
You don't want to stay here
He's not
for.
blocking a trade to LA in a 1 year. He's not going to extend with him, which is what LA is saying. Well, you're not getting the big deal.
Yeah, like that was.
He's not
that was the
blocking a trade to LA.
circumstance.
He's blocked trades to Ottawa and Columbus. He has a 6-team no trade. Those two are likely on.
Or
I'm
or
not a
they're just saying,
distraction at all. I'm a great guy. I love the Flames, but I'm going to fucking leave. Okay. Well,
now that said, he might be blocking a 1 year.
Sure.
Like we don't know. But if it is,
so do you think?
hey Rasmus, we've been talking with LA. They want to do a deal, but it's contingent on you doing an extension.
Mhm.
Would you do an 8-year extension with the Kings? I think it's within his right to say no.
Or just say maybe, but I'm not ready to commit right now. It's like
Like when do you need
go
to know
back to
today?
Sweden, and I haven't even thought about other markets.
But that.
Both can be true.
Yeah, and again,
Yeah.
his only chance of free agency his whole career.
Okay. How much more is free agency going to get Rasmus Anderson?
It's not about how much more. It's he gets to choose which market. Free agency, you could choose to play wherever you want. You could take less and go here. You could take more and go there. You could choose a winner. You could choose a quiet market. You could choose good weather. You could choose to be in the eye of the storm.
The whole take I have is that these guys are too soft, and I think he's one of them.
I don't, but I respect that. You know, you could feel that way.
It's
If
an honor
someone
and a
had
right
asked
to play
you,
in the NHL, and you, like, and I guess I'm assuming that LA is paying him free agent money. I don't know that LA's going in saying, "Here's 6."
right? And we don't know that either. I don't think the Flames have allowed other teams to negotiate with him, but if he was open to signing with them, then they can have that discussion, and then a roundabout way we get a deal done.
There's so much here that we don't know.
Correct.
That gets into, well, how much was he going to get paid? Well, what was the extension?
What
Was
was
it
the
8
return?
years? Was it how much
Yeah.
was it?
Was it the
Will he
no
only
trade?
go to Vegas without knowing? It's hard to know.
And I think there's
my
a
hot
really
take.
good chance that this gets resolution. I do.
I think this, if nothing else,
I think it's a distraction.
this might be a little bit of a sign to everybody.
Get it done.
Getting into the season and pretending this isn't a thing is probably not the best
Kind
idea.
of what you said a while back.
Probably getting a deal done. No
I think
animosity.
that is going to be. It looks like Adams is
fine.
having to deal with it. Like,
And the thing about him is he's a bit of a prickly guy, and you like that about him because he gives a shit.
Yep.
But he will tire of that. And, he's kind of an outspoken guy. That's not going to sit well with him being asked, as Dreger said, going from town to town. So, contractor, yeah, what do you thought? Is it hanging over your head?
Yeah.
He will not have a lot of time for that.
And so what I think you do if you're Kirk Conroy is you get the best deal you can get for him as a rental.
this is what sorry, I'm jumping on you, but I know what you're going to say.
Yeah.
But this is part of the problem is that I'm biased that I want the Flames to be better off in this situation, and
Right.
he's not allowing.
Well, and they could have done that if they traded him at the deadline this year.
That will be the learning experience that's going
Assuming there were deals to be had.
Well, there were some dusters that went for second rounders. Like you were top
and
pair,
it also
top four defense.
it irks me because I believe what Dreger, if Dreger's alluding that LA was giving up
a lot.
an eye opener,
Yeah.
and now we're going to get a second and a third, and Tom,
Or,
Dick,
yeah,
and Harry.
it's a first and a prospect.
But that's
versus
what I was
a
going to say.
huge package.
If he trades him and comes out and says, "Yeah, we got a second rounder for Rasmus, but they get him for two postseason runs, and then we don't need to worry about," people would be furious.
Yeah, but we saw the deals at the deadline this year. It was a very nice seller's market. Defensemen went for
I know.
So 2 years ago,
You said
so
Dusters went
shitties,
for a second.
and
It's like,
this-
well, what if you got a second? Well, you wouldn't be happy with that. I mean,
But
you
my
don't.
point is that he's not a duster.
But
He's
you
a very
don't
good
know
defenseman.
what.
No, but we thought Hannafin and all those
Yeah,
other.
and it turned out not to be a great seller's market.
It's like the
So
Flames
why
are going
is
to trade
now?
for Farabee and Frost. That's terrible. Oh well, what was it for? That's not a terrible deal. Like, unless you know what the price is, you can't say whether it's good or bad. Oh, you should have traded him then. Well, what if the offers were shit? Well, how could they be? We don't know.
No, but we you can look at the trades that happened at the deadline and see what top four defensemen went for it that had
But why
1 year
is
left.
last
not two.
year's an indicator of this year's?
It's not.
2
It's
years?
not. That's my whole point. Is you
Okay.
don't know what it's going to be this deadline. It looks like a season where everyone's trying to get better, but people are going to get off to bad starts, and guys that weren't going to be available will become available. 2 years ago, it wasn't a great seller's market when they tried to get a ton for.
But wasn't
Tanev
it not a great
and
seller's
Hannafin.
market because of these types of situations? And should we have learned from it? Hannafin to me was not a.
Yeah, this year was a year that we thought about, could they move Rasmus? It was a conversation all year. And they were so close to the playoffs, they said, nah, you know what? We can always do it next year. When you look at what teams were getting in those 2-3 days leading up to the deadline for Rasmus type players, it was considerably more than what the market was bearing the year prior. And we don't know what that market will be this year. What we know is that that was a really good seller's market, and
But
they chose
how-
to hold the asset.
How many of them had 2 years left? We just assume this is better for the teams because you're getting two.
Yeah.
Not every team's going to want to.
At
Yes.
4.55, I
And
do
you
think
could have
that
eaten the
it's
2.5 this year to make it even cheaper, to
Yep.
make it a non-issue at all.
Yep.
Like, if you're worried that 2 years of them was a bad idea, not at that number, and you could have lowered that number.
Yeah. I just try and look at, you just try and see, especially in here.
No, they didn't
for me.
do it because they didn't want to send a message to the rest of the team that we're throwing in the towel on the season. And okay, but now you're in a shit spot. Like,
It's a more tricky spot, but it doesn't mean they can't salvage this. There's
no,
a lot
And
of
one
teams that
injury to
wanted
somebody, and but that's what irked me the most.
Yeah,
Is Dreger saying, well, they had a hell of a deal with LA.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I don't think they're over a barrel by Rasmus Andersson, but my fear is when this deal gets done, it is going to be underwhelming. It is going to be less than.
And to be fair, that's been your fear on every guy that they've sold for the last 3 years.
So where's he been wrong?
So,
Where's he been
no,
right?
I think he's wrong on Lindholm for sure. Wrong on Markstrom. Those deals both look very good. But you would be right on Tanev. Hannafin, we'll see where the pick is, but it probably looks like it's a little light. Zadorov, I think you took less to get him the hell out of the room. You could have got more from it at the deadline. But is that, you can call it a win to get rid of the circus. It's been a very mixed bag, like most GMs are. But you've worried about selling every guy. Your worry about everything is that
So
it's
do
not
you
going to go
think?
great.
So do you think they're getting a first and a prospect and?
Yes.
Okay.
For a rental.
Yep. Just like they did with Lindholm.
And so you think the first, the prospect, and whatever else was for a rental player, and they were going to get more if they could do the sign and trade.
I don't know about sign and trade stuff, but I think they get more than that with the LA deal that was rumored.
Boy, I'd love to know what that was.
Yes.
I've heard some names, but I think there's a very highly touted netminder in the system. They have a lot of good goalies. One was certainly dangled, is what I was told.
They don't need a goalie.
I mean, you need good players, and assets are assets. Yes. But yeah, I mean, they don't have.
If you trade Rasmus and the big chip coming back as a
no,
goalie,
it would be a first plus that guy plus a prospect plus a roster play, whatever. But I don't think to look at the Lindholm deal as a template is crazy, because it wasn't like Lindholm was having a lights out year.
Walk me through how the Lindholm deal is so good.
Okay, well, they got a first rounder.
Don't talk again. Some of your smarm gets too far.
I'm sorry.
So you can just tell me. I'm not an asshole for asking.
So I will remind you what the package was that they got. They got a first rounder, which they turned in, I believe, to Gridden.
Okay.
They have Yuri Yermo, who's a C prospect that's not really a thing. A fourth rounder. Meh, we'll see. Might be one of the good players they had in 2 years ago's draft that, is tracking better than a fourth rounder should. They got the Kuzmenko asset that looked very good here, that they somehow, through a lot of other assets, had parlayed into the Farabee Frost. I think that's 5 pieces.
Yeah, but 5.
And Brstevich.
Excuse me, the top prospect in the deal, who is their second best prospect in the organization, according to many, behind only Parekh. So for 2 months of Lindholm, who didn't even play well in Vancouver, that's a haul. If anyone wants to call that trade a loss, they're not understanding.
No one's calling it a loss.
No, but I do hear that elsewhere.
But it can become a lot. Like you're still assuming Gridden, and I'm not trying to say he's not going to be good for you. But
no, and I'm not saying he's going to be a star either. But
you're still talking about maybes.
It's a lot of lottery tickets for 2 months of Lindholm who wasn't good, and that's a good trade, because you never know that a prospect's going to make it or not. It's always a prospect. But if you can get more prospects and higher end prospects and more picks and higher picks, there's a better probability of them working out. So that deal gave you 5 cuts at NHL players. One was already a player in Kuzmenko. If we had a better year, you could have turned into more.
That was a salary dump, though. That was the Flames doing
great. Yeah,
that's the Flames doing Vancouver a favor in that trade. That is not.
And then he scores a goal every other game when he gets here, and you're like, you might be able to trade this guy for
sure. But remember, again, you're framing this at the time. That was not a hey. And they got Kuzmenko, which is awesome. He's making $5 million.
He scored 39 goals last year, and he's not working under.
You know what
there was both sides.
Stop spinning it. You know what it was.
I'm telling you what they got in the deal.
You know what it was.
Kuzmenko just signed a $4.3 million deal for 1 year.
I understand, but
that's
you're like,
not crazy.
You're a big fan of this deal. Just remember that when it went down, Kuzmenko, that was not and they got this guy that scored 39. It was he scored 39.
You had to take the money to make it work.
But it's money.
That's a nice bit of money to take, because you could have turned him into another asset, and you kind of did. You got the Frost Farabee because he was a part of that.
Wow, but you're still not sold on Frost and Farabee. What are they?
No, but at least they're younger and they fit your age scheme. And Frost.
I'm not looking to shit on that deal because it was a good deal.
Thank you. That's all I'm asking for you to acknowledge.
But
Tanev was late. They wanted it first. They didn't stick to their guns, and they moved him early. And he also went down the tunnel 8 times. It was a tough one. But it's safe to say you're not dealing with, Bill Zito. It's a first-time GM, and teams aren't going to just hand over what he asked for right away. If Brian Burke's rule was you set a price and you don't move till you get it, well, he moved on Tanev. He asked for a first, he didn't get it, he moved them anyway, and he moved them early. But the flip side is that
a ton early, but it was
a week, whatever.
But not like if you trade Andersson now.
Right.
Not that type of
But the Lindholm deal is a win, and the Markstrom deal is a win. Markstrom had a just okay year. Jake Allen was better than him down the stretch. Dustin Wolf's way better. You get another first, which you turn into the kid they drafted out of Victoria, Cole Reshney. That's a great deal. And you got Kevin Ball. Are you kidding me? That's phenomenal trade.
Well, yeah, right. But
for 2 years of Markstrom.
But at the time, it was Kevin Ball. He was in that trade. It's at first. It may end up being a very good deal. Yeah,
I think it's already. Yeah,
it's just
if you turn 2 years of Jacob Markstrom into a top 4D,
and a
first rounder, I think that's a good trade.
I've decided that the reason I'm grumpy about it is just of what Dreger was alluding to, and we don't know what the LA offer was. And so your fear is that if LA was making a real sweetheart deal with you and you couldn't get it done because Rasmus wouldn't go, then you're like, ugh, It's more frustration.
I agree.
Yeah, it is that for sure.
And here's the thing:
Right?
Rasmus might have been willing to go to LA, but like, look, I can't commit to an extension, guys. I haven't even
Yeah.
I haven't even thought about an extending. I've been thinking about free agency for the last 4 years.
And
I think you're overplaying that a little
I'm
bit
just
from
saying
the
we
player's
don't
point of
know.
view.
We
It's
don't
not,
know.
Yeah, I'm giving you my thoughts as a former. I don't know. Like free agency is tempting and all this and that, but I don't think anyone goes into free agencies and has their socks knocked off. Do you know what I mean? Like if you're trading for someone, you're kind of like, well, it should be in this range, right? And if you're going to free agency, you're not going to. You might make more money, but it's not something that the guys haven't considered. Do you know what I mean? Like he's not going to be, oh, I went to free agency and just, oh my God,
Yeah,
there's
like,
another 60
Yeah,
million.
I guess not the money.
I
It's
wonder.
not the money.
I wonder what it was. Is it proximity to Sweden? What would it have been
About LA.
that Andersson would have? Because you think a lot of players would be like, shit, Charles. Yeah,
Or
let's
maybe
go.
he's just saying, I'm a year out. I'm not ready to
Right,
commit
like it
for my
could be.
next 9 years.
But I think
But
probably
that's what I'm
I
saying.
might play in LA, but I'm not ready to sign an extension yet.
But if you took 10 players and we're going to trade them to LA, how many would say, ooh, I don't know.
Well, he didn't nix the trade though. He nixed the 8-year extension essentially, right?
Right. But it's
I think a lot
What
of
a-
guys would be,
it's-
I'm not ready yet.
I think you're.
it's one and the
I
same.
think you're just trying to argue that, and that's fine. But and again, I'm assuming that the number that LA was willing to pay him was basically a free agent number.
Yeah, and judging by what Ken Holland spent yesterday, it probably would have been.
Yeah.
Like because you've spent $9 million on two
So
bad
if
defensemen.
Rasmus thinks that a year from today, I've got a $70 million contract offer? Is it 75? Is it 8? I don't right.
Yeah,
Like
70, sure.
It
I
would.
mean,
I don't think LA was offering him a $50 million contract.
I agree.
Was it 7 times 7? Would
Yeah.
Grabber? I don't think so. I don't know.
And look, I think when you were 29, you remember where you were in your career?
Yeah,
You were probably just new here, first couple of years.
we'd just gone to the finals and we had a lockout.
Okay. So at that point of your career, you'd have a real good idea of markets you'd like to play in places that, you know what, I'm good.
Yeah.
And probably a bunch in the middle where you're like, yeah, under the right circumstance, I'd go there. But all of a sudden, when you're trying to tie in, like sign in a year early, you might have not even, thought about who's on the team, who do I know? Like the team's asking him right away to say, hey, will you sign 8 years here? And he's like, I'm just going on summer vacation. Like, can I get back to you in September? Is that possibility that this is happening here?
I feel if it were me, and I've never, I feel like I'll sit down and I'll get you an answer. Here. I'm gonna-
Situational awareness of what's going on, and your agents should too. I mean, I understand your thought, but I think you're overplaying that.
It might not have happened
I
at all
need
that
to
way.
be
Yeah, it
free
may not
and
have
be able
happened
to
at all.
choose.
No.
Like you're not visiting colleges.
No, and it's not even that. It's just that, geez, like Rasmus, I'm your agent here. You have your pick of the litter in a sense. Like, where do you want to go? Well, I like LA, but it's not my top 3.
Well, and the other thing is, go ahead and be Klingberg then. Like you have there is the risk of that. Go
There is
break your
that.
leg.
Yeah,
Go
it's
throw
a
a
big year
hip
for him.
out, right? Like it's. I'm not wishing her. I'm just
without knowing the money.
Yeah, like you didn't want to go to LA and make 70 million, and you broke your hip. Ooh, this is No, you're a free agent.
What's good though is that it's not a distraction.
No,
No one's talking about it.
We don't
Once
need
that's
anything
out of
to talk
shape,
about the next 2 months. So.
We're all pros. We'll just play the games. Let's take a look at our Bet365 bets of the day. Whatever your bet is, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app, get in the game. Official partner of the Stanley Cup playoffs, must be 19 or older.
Boomer Jinx is alive and well. He said, go Yankees, the end of the last
Yeah.
show, and they've been defeated in comeback fashion twice since then,
I like seeing that,
including a George Springer grand slam on Canada Day that blew it open last night. Wildly entertaining game for the home side with over 40,000 attendance today. Jose Barrios on the bump for the home side. He hit 8 strikeouts in Boston in his last start. He was spectacular. We're going to go 6 or more at plus 110. And here's a parlay I've cooked up, boys. Look at this. Jay's money line. Guerrero 2 bases. Springer 1 RBI. He had 7 yesterday. 7 or 9? He had 7.
Selfish.
Just 1. That's all we need, Springer. Plus 850. Parlay all day, Jack. So my bets. They don't have to be yours at Bet365.
There you go. Get the app. Be 19 or older. Please play responsibly. We'd like that a lot if you would. do that.
And Jack, I would appreciate if you don't put the clip of me calling Andersson as a highlight clip for.
Maybe you break
dummy.
your hip.
He's soft. That won't go over well.
Then I'm a jerk.
You're not wrong.
About
Any of it.
well, I think players, generally speaking, are more soft than they were in Red Sarah. No one's going to debate that.
Yeah. For the youth centers of Calgary. Here's $5 from Brandon. Old Black Heart. I think it's Bret Hart's birthday. Happy birthday, Bret.
Happy birthday.
Best podcast. You three are awesome. This guy's so right.
Look at the Brendan.
Yeah.
These guys bang on.
Sign him.
Thoughts on Conroy taking a more patient approach through
I
free
don't-
agency?
I don't think Conroy was taking a patient approach. I think that nobody was phoning him back.
There's no deals yesterday. You want the Flames to be taken on.
No.
Yeah,
it's
I
the
don't
right
really
move. I would. It's the right move. I think if Anderson's moving out, and I would continue to explore options of deleting guys
Yes.
off the roster as opposed to
Keep getting younger.
Sure. Thanks, Brandon. Appreciate that.
That's our one. Or we got
I mean,
more.
Conroy's going
I'm not
to.
sure.
Ooh, R&B.
R&B
6.
with T.O. losing Marner and Detroit all in to avoid missing playoffs again. Should Calgary leverage teams in win now mode and shop Huberdeau if he waives his no move clause?
I would think Kadri is the name that probably makes more sense there. I don't think Huberdeau is an asset that people want at this point based on his salary and the
Too
commitment.
long, and you can't eat salary with his. It's too long.
It's too long. It's too much.
What, 6 years left on that? Oy,
It's too long. It's too much. And on the player side, it's not enough. He's
And it's all signing bonuses, so you can't buy it out. There's that too.
Yeah,
So if it
there's
goes
that too.
sideways, you're kind of stuck with it.
That's true.
Thanks, Arby. J Doll.
Music.
Rasmus is dead to me.
Oh,
Don't throw in the towel yet. Living
early
at
J.
trade
Doll
deadline
music.
could be great. A
Mhm.
rental market is. Don't listen to me. I was grumpy earlier. Probably the rental market isn't the end of the world.
Luckily,
Maybe-
though, you've turned it around
yeah.
because you're in
Yeah.
great spirits now.
Positive.
Yeah.
Look great.
Yeah.
Maybe
'Cause
Rasmus
I'm
goes
just
home.
pumped we get to work tomorrow. That's what's raising my spirits.
You were the one lobbying to do shows
When?
last week.
No.
I'm around. Are we not doing shows? We should do shows. How about shows?
That was before the great swim meet.
Oh, yeah.
Took a lot of wind out of him. It's really slowed down.
Before the Bonavista 500.
That's right.
I'm
Yeah, I've been working on my individual medley. I'm gonna have to call
know
it for
what,
this
though?
week.
sure Cooney feels as shitty today.
Wow, he should.
Yeah.
We should feel worse because he
His body's feeling better, but he's got the
cheated,
regrets.
he got his ass kicked,
Yeah.
and he had to do some of the swim.
And he's getting called out on
Yeah.
an
A
incredibly
huge- on a
popular
great podcast by great podcasters. Yeah, that is true.
well respected.
Yeah, very well respected. Well,
Don't lose hope.
so yeah,
It's the
don't
word of the day.
be
Word.
mad at Rasmus. Don't be mad at Craig.
It's all gonna play out.
It's all gonna happen. It's
Very
just-
early.
Things happen for a reason.
God, might see those guys tomorrow. They'll be yelling at me for being putts.
Nah, you were great today.
Was I?
Jay McNeil was really good too.
Yeah,
Get those
Don't-
tickets.
yeah. I wouldn't do
Stampeders.com.
any arm wrestling or anything.
No.
no swim meets with
He's
Jay.
a very strong man.
Yeah, yeah.
He's
He spent 14 years on an offensive line.
Does it make us like when we see a fellow like that?
Yeah.
He's take care of
Do you do some self-evaluating or just
Just about everybody I see.
yeah.
Yeah. Jay McNeil or pretty much any human I see on the sidewalk or in life. It's like I've made some bad choices.
Jay played O-line?
Yes,
Yeah.
dude.
What a beast.
Yes.
There's a few guys that do that and they just stay gargantuan. Other guys lean the hell out and get in deadly shape. And it's crazy to see how you could transform your body and play at like 280 and then trim down to like 220. You're like, what?
Yeah.
The human body can do that? You guys are maniacs.
Just doing a lot of eating. That's the tact I've taken.
Yeah.
you've got the one
Can
side
you
that's,
bench press an accord like Jay can?
It's got me on this hugely successful podcast. Hey, Jay's the president of a CFL team.
What does your daughter call you?
I can't park in Marta Loop. Yeah, fuck it.
that's going to become an issue too. The bastards are, once this is all finished, they're going to start charging for parking around here.
Yeah.
To pay
Oh,
for
I
all-
wouldn't worry about this getting finished anytime soon.
pay
That's
for all this.
That's a,
We will be out of here
that's a
before they're done.
2027 problem.
Yeah, because what's the lease? 1 more year?
I think we just
Oh,
signed the
man.
3 years.
Yeah, I think 2 more years.
What the fuck?
2 and change.
Yeah, when it finishes, then we'll be up and gone.
We'll be finished by then.
All right. Well, tomorrow is Thursday.
We'll tell you where Nick Ehlers is playing, I bet.
Probably.
Any thoughts? Carolina's got the
Keep
space.
hearing Carolina.
I think Anaheim and
okay.
San Jose are really going to start pushing things forward here, and they got cap space at the Yinger. What do you like, Nick? I'm not thinking it's Winnipeg.
Doesn't feel like it.
Are they done with him, or is he done with them?
I think they really made a hard push to get him, but
Yeah.
he's done a lot of good time in Winnipeg. He's ready to spread his wings elsewhere.
He's had a lot of the steak Oscar at Ray and Jerry's.
Yeah, he's done a lot of fishing. He doesn't need more fishing right now.
He's ready for something new, maybe.
Just
All
like
right.
us.
Just like us.
Not done a lot of fishing.
Jack, how was the show today?
Great show.
Yeah.
Cool trophy.
Yeah, well,
Was it heavy?
it was really heavy. Like 50
Did they let you
pounds.
pick that up?
I gave a little tug on it. It was
Stop talking. Jesus. See you, buddies.